Good evening. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Thank you guys for coming back to the Real Precious. Thanks for coming back to my channel over here supporting. I know everybody done seen the No Diddy. That is the talk of the town right now. So we're going to dive into a couple of things. So guys, make sure that you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And just take this journey with us. I am going to drop the link for anyone who wants to join the conversation. Your perspective is definitely welcome. All I ask is that you respect the platform. Okay, so before we get to those who are in the chat, let's get to those who are on the panel, Mr. Sean Bolden and Mr. R. Payne. R. Payne, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay, good. Hanging in there.
Okay.
What's up, Sean?
What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Yeah. Kind of loaded.
Pain and Precious P and P, and tonight we're talking about Diddy. All right, I'm good.
Your mic is low.
It's real low. Yep.
But when you take it off of mute, it echoes. So I don't know if, let me see something really quick. Unmute yourself right now, Sean.
I'm trying to. I have you on two platforms on my phone. I'm trying to turn off my phone so it doesn't have the backlash. Okay, is that better?
Now, I think it's better. I don't hear the echo anymore. Do you, RP?
I turned off that.
It sounds better. You're louder too.
All right, cool.
It's all right.
All right, I'm gonna try.
Maybe that's a little bit too bad, though.
Does this mic work better?
No, you were just fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
Just fine. Yeah, don't change anything.
You don't need to do nothing else. All right. I heard the echo. Is something actually playing, or is it an echo? Are you playing it on another device?
I stopped playing it on another device. I was, but I stopped.
Well, you can just turn it down. I think I just heard myself talking, but we'll work with it. We'll work with it. All right. Mr. He said is in the building saying good evening, everyone. Salute to our sister in chat.
Yeah.
Mr. He said, I see you guys are doing good things over there. You and the missus. Y'all met King Smith. Isn't he dope? In person. I love that we get to meet each other in person. So I'm glad you guys got to experience him as well. Sean is in the chat saying, Mr. He said, join us. Definitely join us. I will drop the link right after I'm done giving you guys a shout out. I appreciate anyone who comes to watch the show. Like I said, you're welcome to join the panel. Just, RESPECT. Because if it ain't you're getting kicked off, okay? Like Martin said, get the stepping. Okay. The 18th letter, I see you in the chat. Good evening, Miss Precious. Good evening to you too. Thank you so much for being here. Jeffrey Woodland, good evening, good sis Precious, the panel, the chat, and the mods. Thank you. Jeffrey says, seems like it's fitting to be deep. We'll see. We're gonna get into it though. And Mr. He says we can hear him now. That's horrible. Okay, so maybe we're hearing the audio issues, but I think we have rectified everything. So we are going to get into it. All right. So everyone has, I'm sure, seen and heard, what's going on with Diddy. I mean, we covered it here before, and have talked about it, before, but now we are down the line in what's going on in the story, and it's not looking good for Diddy. Before I go on and play any of audio, videos, or anything, what do you guys think now that we're right here in the game where he has come back to New York? He's, turned himself in, and now the feds are, pretty much denying him any type of bail or getting out of their protective services. What do you guys think about that?
I felt it was coming. I'm not surprised that they denied him. I wouldn't be surprised that they continue to deny him after the appeals. I think they did twice already. And, it is what it is. He is a flight case. I'm sorry, a flight risk. And, you know, this was coming. Now, bigger question, is it a distraction to everything else going on in the world or the United States, politically and otherwise? Hey, who knows?
No, listen, we knew it was coming, right? I mean, so, but I disagree with not giving him bail. You know, I mean, they give bail to other things. I mean, he didn't commit any murders. He's not going nowhere. Where's he going to go? I mean, that's the whole point.
Go anywhere?
No, how's he going to get out of? He's not. You think he's going to just be able to just leave somewhere? I mean, it's not going to be that easy. Private jets. Anybody who will take him out of the country will be culpable, right? So even if he jumped on a private jet to try to go to some place where there's no extradition, everybody in that string getting him out of the country would be accessories. Why would somebody do that for him?
Money talks.
I mean, they have been doing a lot of things for him.
No, well, that's before the indictment. That was before he got indicted. You know, so I'm just thinking that I think the bail and keeping him in jail is a little excessive. That's all. I mean, I'm not saying he's not guilty or anything. He's got to have a trial, but I just think it's excessive.
Here's some of the reasons that they brought up that I thought was pretty practical. One, he has a track record of intimidating and or trying to influence witnesses, threatening them, antagonizing them. And while he's on the street, he has the ability to do that even more so. And that was one of the things that they brought up in reference to his case specifically. And he has already been known and found has done that. And it's not something that has been hidden, you know, according to the witnesses that they're trying to use for this case. They're like, yo, I heard word, or I got word from somebody who said I shouldn't do this. And this is kind of their concern. And his impact and ability to do that while he's out is a significant risk.
Yeah. He could intimidate, unless they have a total blackout on him, he could intimidate people whether he's in or out. He could use that.
You're right, but people feel more comfortable and safer.
Yeah, all I'm just trying to say is that, you know, based on what you just said, almost nobody should be able to get out of jail for bail. You know, I mean, in the past, when he had free reign, his actions.
I think they have the attitude that he's been bailed out enough. Don't you think Diddy's been bailing out enough as far as the allegations against him? All he has to do.
What you mean by bailed out? I mean, the allegations against him haven't been brought him to this kind of indictment. It's a whole different ballgame now. He's under indictment to go to jail. Before, there's just allegations on the internet. So now he's under federal investigation.
Were you here when we reviewed him?
He wasn't under arrest.
When he did what he did to Cassie?
No. We're mixing apples and oranges. I'm talking about he wasn't under arrest. He's under arrest now. He's got all the spotlights of the federal government on. He's not going anywhere. So it's not that big of a deal to me. But we're conflating things. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, what he did to Cassie probably made them step up their game. But they raided his house. Now we're seeing the culmination of them raiding his house. Well, the indictment means everything.
But you made a good point. It's apples and oranges, and he's the fruit of all of it.
yeah, he's a fruit of all. I mean, listen, this doesn't mean he's guilty. I just think the denying him bail is just a little excessive. Right? That's all. I just think it's excessive.
I mean, I definitely respect your opinion. But it's just surprising to hear, you know, you say it doesn't make him guilty. Usually when the feds are there, they have something that makes you guilty, right? Isn't that usually when, or no?
No, you still, listen, I know a lot of people hate the guy, and that's fine. There's no problem there. You're still innocent until somebody proves you guilty. We can't just jump over that based on our feelings. He's still innocent until somebody proves him guilty.
To R. Payne's point, I agree. And to your point that you was just saying, Precious, the statistics show that 90 something percent, but there's still that 5%.
And well, the feds have also been known to trump some stuff up too, but not against him. But we gotta listen. I don't think he's ever seeing the light of day again. I don't think he's ever getting out of jail. I think he's going to lose the case, and if he has no bail, right? I don't know when this trial is going to happen. So he's going to be in jail forever, because if he loses, he's never getting out. Right? They're not going to give him a break. So right now, he may never be a free man again. Already. So that's where I'm coming from. So the bail thing I thought was excessive, but we got to go through the trial. I think he has enough evidence against him that'll do that. I don't think all the charges will stick, but because I think some things will be unprovable. But I'm sure he's done enough. He used his enterprise. I believe he used his enterprise, and he started adding criminal elements to it, and that's why they got him on a RICO charge. So anybody who has a business, right, and his business had like a lot of tentacles to it. If any part of that business was used for criminal activity, that's why RICO comes in. It's like a catch-all charge. It was for the mob. So now his business, even the good elements, come under scrutiny. And anybody who was a major manager or whatever on his enterprise, they're all going to be culpable one way or the other, whether they were involved in the dirty tactics. That's what RICO. You could drive a truck through RICO charges. So he's going. I believe he's going down, but I'd like to see it play out. That's all.
I think we definitely want to see it play out.
Yeah.
I think even before, probably by the weekend, we'll definitely have a lot more information on this. But we're going to get into some of these videos and just, kind of talk about them. Again, if you'd like to join, let me know. You can definitely come up to the panel and let us know what's on your mind in regards to this. Is it a distraction? It could be a distraction, but
from what? A distraction from what you mean?
Sean talked about, could this be a distraction from the politics and everything that is going on? It could be a distraction, but at the end of the day is what's really going on in people's lives. I don't think it's an intentional distraction, but it is just something else that's going on, and it's impacting the hip hop world, the music industry, and maybe even some colleges and things of that nature, because it seems like Diddy had a lot of people in high places in different organizations and different sectors of society.
TD Jakes could be implicated in some of that.
Yeah, and differences in different sectors of the society that all had high rankings. People held them at high regard, respectful, as what they thought was people who were respectable, dignified people who are now involved with Diddy. This definitely is going to shake society as we know it, especially those who grew up in the 80s and the 90s and listen to the music and things of that nature.
Well, you remember when he was having those white parties? I mean, it was like if you got an invitation to one of his parties, you knew you were part of the it crowd, right? People used to get 2 planes and drive and fly people to Africa and all. They would have all of these parties. The Diddy party was the big thing to be at. And he wasn't Diddy, might have been Combs at one, Puffy at one point. And he just grew. Now, who knew at the end they turned into flaming orgies and stuff like that? But you can almost predict that some part of all his parties degenerated into, people who wanted to get their freak off.
Those white parties turn real dark after dark.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a video in regards to the parties that I saw earlier today, and I thought it was interesting what they did. But we're gonna start from the beginning here. Thank you to everyone for joining. Trey Ferg, I see you in the chat.
Yeah, Trey Ferg over there. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys, if you guys want to join, you're more than welcome. Just hit the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Okay.
Freakout parties. In attendance were celebrities, politicians, athletes, international dignitaries like British royalty, Prince Harry, and music label executives. Lil Rod claimed some of the biggest names in the recording industry sponsored these parties with sex workers, drugs, and underage girls. The CEO of Universal Music, Lucian Grange, is named as a defendant. So is the former CEO of Motown Records, Ethiopia, Habert Mariam, and others. Lil Rod says hidden cameras were in every room of Diddy's homes. Lil Rod believes that Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Salacious tapes of Hollywood's biggest names, including record CEOs and politicians, doing drugs and cavorting with prostitutes and minors. The complaint argues that these freak-off...
So in this video, he's talking about the people who have sponsored these freak offs, the people who are involved. I actually have a little bit of a illustration here, Combs sexual.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know if you can see it. But for the far left at the top is Lucian, who is the CEO of Universal Music Group, and Ethiopia, who he named, is the CEO of Motown Records. You have Diddy, Sean Combs, Mr. Love, every name that he's given himself. He has quite a few aliases. Right in the middle, to the right of him, is Christina Norum, who is the chief of staff. Below her, all the way to the far right, you have Justin Combs, who was a sex worker recruiter, along with Moy Bond, who is a sex worker recruiter as well. Down from them two, you have a Daphne Joy, who was a staff sex worker. Remember, that was 50 Cent's baby mom. Then you have Young Miami, who was a sex worker. If we work our way back to the left here, you have Brendan Paul, who was the drug mule. Remember, wasn't that the kid who got arrested for providing Diddy with his drugs and things of that nature? You have Frankie Santella, who was the money holder, and then you have Fahim Muhammad, who was head of security. So this is just a part of the operation, because I don't think this was the whole operation. I think he definitely had way more people working for him than this. But this is one of the schematics written up of some of the people that were involved. What I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think that people are going to come out against Diddy and talk, or do you think they're going to wait to see what is revealed?
Can you put that back up though, too?
Is it better for them to come out and just say something, or is it better for it to just be revealed when the feds actually drop the bomb on who's involved and things of that nature?
I think you can see both. You can see both. You're gonna see all of that. But when you started telling everybody that this is the sex worker and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of alleged, right? We don't know.
Alleged.
No, but hold on for a second. Is this? See, they put the title up here, the sex trafficking operation. Mm-hmm. But isn't this also his regular business? Like if he was doing some music and stuff with these guys, this could be an org chart from his regular business, right? And on top of that, overlay on that could be the sex trafficking. That's why the RICO charge comes in, because this could be his actual business operation. But besides just doing business, underneath all that, the dark side is all this sex stuff.
What's interesting about what you're saying is that is a business, but with the title being manipulated.
Exactly. You're saying exactly what I'm saying.
And so I'm glad you pointed it out, because a lot of people don't look at it as such. Now, could that manipulation be true?
Yes.
Yet to be determined, though, to your point.
That's why he's on trial. That's the RICO charge.
And that's the reason why, in fact, I'm seeing your point of view, Payne, because we manipulate a lot of things in order to justify allegations without them being proven. And so we do have to find some grace to be able to still give him some grace, even though it looks grim. You know, it looks very.
I wouldn't use the word grace. I would just use his constitutional right to be proven guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. So let's say this operation had 10 things that they were responsible for, his music and all this, and the hidden part is how he moved his sexual, organization underneath that. Maybe laundered money, maybe did this and all that under a legitimate business operation. And that's where the RICO charge comes in. That's how I see how they do RICO. So, and so here's where he went wrong, because if he would have never did that, that could have just been a setup for a great business. But he added all his decadence. If he's guilty, he added all his decadence, and he used his operation to move his product.
Yes, absolutely. He's J. Edgar Diddy.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and literally the same things that J. Edgar Hoover allegedly used in forming the FBI and having the information on certain people to give him power and leverage is almost the ideal scenario that is being displayed about Diddy. That's why I say
I agree.
J. Edgar.
So going back to your question, Precious, is yes, he's going to have some people who are going to volunteer information. They probably already have. And then he's going to have some people who are going to just, hopefully that everything will just go over their head. But there's somebody talking. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you got to, there's some people talking.
I'm more curious. I'm more curious about what he's going to say. I feel like he's also Diddy Barnes. Now, what I mean by that, Nicky Barnes, he's Diddy Barnes. Both the Harlem, he's about to take them all. I'm not going down by myself.
That's right. That's
what I'm more curious about.
Yep.
It's, you say you're curious as to what he's going to say, and it's crazy because Diddy has come out before and he's like, enough is enough. All these allegations against me. We'll find out the truth. And then the video comes out with
girl.
So yeah, and
yeah,
and then after that happens,
that was the stupidest thing he could have ever done. I don't care when he did that. This surface,
big house and mansion that he's dancing around in. I'm still standing.
And that was
like a strong survivor. In jail.
In fairness, we don't know when that was recorded. We do know when it was highlighted.
Right,
It was highlighted after directly after Cassie. So we assume that it was
tied to that exactly
after Cassie. So I don't know that, but regardless, it is the
you guys don't sing around your house. I do.
I
sing around my house. You know what I'm saying?
And Precious, what's funny is
one singing around the house.
Man, what's funny is as you're speaking, your body language is really telling as far as your position.
You know what it is. After seeing, the Cassie tape and just him apologizing and, I tell y'all all the time, only Jesus saves. Like, can't nobody save nobody else,
Mm-hmm.
After seeing all of that and being a fan of Diddy, like I love Diddy's music,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first one to throw on the jam and be in here getting it, okay? Just to know that people will dwell in their wrongdoing makes you really look at them like, wow, enough wasn't enough for you. You were still hungry for more. The addiction of the drugs now got you got all these other type of people involved. And the sad part about it is you have twin girls who have to be taken care of by their mother's friend because you want to be out here bringing people from other countries and, having these huge beds in your backyard and recording like, it's just the worlds just don't, they just don't add up, and it's just very disappointing. It's just like, dang, like, you should go at this point. Go somewhere. You don't even deserve to on the platform and the things that you have, as much as you have built them up, you have made it ugly and disgusting.
Yes.
And that's and like I said, it's telling your position through your body language. And like my man Mecca said in the chat, this is reflective of Nino Brown and the character of Nino Brown. And in that whole story, there were two dynamics: those who were intrigued and captivated by his power, which is intoxicating, and those who were disgusted by it. And here we are, it's being played out naturally through Diddy, those who are intoxicated by, and intrigued by his power, and those who are disgusted by it. So it's interesting just to see both dynamics as far as I'm sitting back looking at it, because I understand them both. I can understand those who are intrigued and those who are disgusted. So I just sit back and I watch it play out, because like you said, no one can save him other than, well, he thought he could save himself, and that was the arrogance that was, protruding out of his pores because of the power that is so intoxicating that he was blinded by. So here we are. We're sitting here dealing with a very powerful, arrogant person. And it's interesting because I've been so close to it, yet so far from it in my walks of life. And it's so, I just am mesmerized by it, because I'm not surprised by anything, but mesmerized by how it actually plays out in the parallel it has to movies and characters like a Nino Brown that we have seen, which was depicted around a real person.
It's just a horrible fall from grace. I mean, it's just a horrible, it's like, and the thing that bothers me the most, right, is sometimes when Black people play victim and stuff like that, you figure when we get the power or we get the position, we would do something other than what we think our enemy would do, right? And it turns out that we're just like we're just like everybody else. We're just like the power corrupts us just like it corrupts everybody else. I mean, that's just history. So, he didn't have to go down that road. He just didn't have to go down that road. But he was that kind of person before the money. And the money just gave him the ability to fund his proclivities or propensities or whatever, or both. So that's it.
They have that saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? And so if these people were sponsoring, usually when you sponsor something, you believe in it. You back it, you putting your name on it, your stamp of approval. I want them to know that I am actually for this, And so for these people to have been involved, whoever they are, and I'm pretty sure they'll, some big name droppers is gonna leave people surprised, but not really, but really, like, for real, it's also a shame to know that they share that commonality, because if these people, are from Rutgers University and banks and travel organizations and things of that nature, if all the high people in these places are have this thing in common with Diddy, and they're sponsoring and they're giving up money and things of that nature, and smiling in our faces, because who are we to know the difference, right? It's sad because, these people are around our children, or these people do accommodate us when we're, trying to travel or do whatever. it's just sad that this is the commonality for them, and this is how, you know, they're going to fall. And I mean, it makes sense that they're going to fall this way because good company corrupts, bad company corrupts good character. So, you know, to me, it's like, did they ever have good character? Because you know, we're going to get.
You saw him get in trouble with J-Lo early on, right? That was up in the beginning.
Right.
So, you know, so let me ask you, I was going to ask you a question based on what you're saying. So it's something about, are you, something about being disappointed. Are you disappointed? Or I forgot the other word I was going to say. Golly. There's a choice between just being disappointed and I'm getting an old man moment and shit. That's too bad, you know. But I know you're disappointed, but it was just expected, or you disappointed. It's gonna come to me. But disappointed was one of them.
See, I don't. I try not to worry about other people's business. I mean, I know we talk about it on here, but when I'm off of here, like I'm off of here. I don't do the social media thing like that. I don't do real life. So I'm disappointed, but it's saddening. Like it's one of those things where if you're gonna do bad, you know how your grandma used to say, I could do bad all by myself. Do bad all by yourself. Why do you have to include so many people in it, knowing that you're still procreating, knowing that you have children, you have sons, and you know, for one of them to be listed as one of the sex workers allegedly, you know, it's just sad. Like, it's really just disheartening to know all these people are going to go down, and mind you, by choice. However, there were other circumstances and dynamics in there that then their lure of the life, or their greediness, or you know, those things are going to be their downfall, because again, no one forced them to do it, but they were forced to stay in it, and it's just not a good place to be, right? And so for the people who chose to do it, it's almost like you have to be regretting your decisions. And I'm the kind of person where I don't want to regret anything in life. Like I don't want to wake up and be like, oh man, I regretted I didn't do that, or I regret that I didn't say that. No, we only have one life. We only got only one. So make the decisions and continue to make decisions that's only going to lead up to your own demise at some time. Like we, you know, what's his name was giving the speech at Homie Kwan's funeral, and he said that we're on borrowed time, but a lot of people are on borrowed grace. Like you just think that it's not going to catch up to you. You just think that, you know, you can just keep doing what you're doing. And you're just going to walk this earth, and God in his divine power is not going to show you who you are. That is so arrogant that you're not going to escape your arrogancy. So it's just a disappointment that grown people that think they're so high and mighty can't be chopped low with an axe, just like that. And it's there at that.
I'm here.
You know, so it's just pitiful.
Yeah. What's up, though, Coach Ferg?
Hey, Coach Ferg.
How y'all doing, man?
All right. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I had to listen in the clouds for a little bit. I was taking care of something, but yeah.
Thank you for joining.
I've always
we're there already. It's our painful. He asked me, so I had to, you know.
Well, he's older than me, so he'll forget more often than I do. I'll forget, but not as often as our pain. Yeah.
One slip up, man. One slip up. I'm in the White House already.
Yeah. I mean, you notice just how they handled this situation differently than anybody else's situation. Because in a sense they did, because they raided his home.
Okay.
and it was pretty much hush hush since then. And now what they're putting out there, they haven't put out any other names. They just said he has a list, right, of all of these high profile people. Now, the one thing that they really spotlighting is the fact that he had weapons, high caliber weapons. That's what's going to get him initially. The felony, that's a felony to scratch the serial number off of a weapon.
Yeah.
So that's going to get him right there. But that won't send him down, upriver. I'm interested to see this list of names. That's going to be the kicker, because
if you ever see them, if you ever see the list of names,
they
still haven't released the Jeffrey Epstein list of names.
Yes. So, but we already know, even with Puffy, there's people who are in high profile positions. So he wasn't doing this alone. You can't have a sex trafficking ring by yourself. You just can't do it.
And you need customers. You gotta have customers.
Yeah, you gotta have a ring of people.
A clientele, yeah.
Yeah. But guys like, I don't know, what is he going by today? P. Diddy? Guys like that, I've always been weary of, because one, he's I guess the way I'm trying to say is the way he presents himself like he's the man, he's really not that. He hides behind his title in the music business and what he can do. Guys that take steroids, I never trust guys that take steroids to get muscles. And you can always see a difference, because they're going to be a buffer, like a swollen muscular instead of just cut muscular. So I never trusted guys like that, because it's always something that they're going to present. What's that? Their representative is not going to be their true person. I would, and because what we're seeing now is everything that he done behind closed doors. I like to lotion up. I think most women like to put lotion on, but I would like to see how many bottles of baby oil and lotion you got in your closet.
Because he shopped at Costco. He got a big box of Costco. How is that relevant?
Listen, Costco will have a big 45-ounce bottle of baby oil.
Yeah,
you got a supply to get that many boxes of baby oil. You got a crate coming to your house.
That's a pallet.
Backing it in, okay?
It's a whole pallet. It's a whole
pallet. So
all I'm just trying to say is, I think that's a salacious part of this thing.
What do you use baby oil for? Whose backs are you rubbing? That's all I'm saying.
Hey, listen, if it's baby oil, then he got, like women like to keep.
But you can use
nice and subtle. No, I hear what you're saying, but I think that's a salacious part. Oh, by the way, we got these guns with the serial numbers. Oh, and by the way, he has a whole room full of lotion, and so. Everybody knows you need lotion to have sex. Well, he don't got a whole he don't have a bunch of 95-year-olds in there.
You don't use lotion.
What are we talking about?
I'll pay you out of touch. You don't use lotion.
What? I think you need lotion to have sex, babe.
If you got the right women, they come
in. Listen, you can't use no lotion. No.
We before our pay incriminates himself anymore, we're going to hop on. Keep it rolling, because
Oh man.
So what I want to do at this point is play 3 videos. They're short videos of 3 different experiences of those who have been to a Diddy party. One thing, Arpane, you asked me if I was surprised. Not necessarily surprised, because you've always heard stories about these Diddy parties, right? So it's not like it's a big surprise that he's this big freak and he had these people coming over doing whatever. But I do want to share 3 videos. Okay. 2 of them are connected. One of them I have to let me see something here. All right.
Is at one particular party. Lots of
Now this is Lecrae. He is a Christian rapper. He wasn't always saved, okay, just like any saved person ain't always saved. So he got a story about being at a Diddy party.
One particular party, lots of big names. There was an artist there who said, "Hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here. You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning." Now, my pride kicked in, like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like, I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? Well, it's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio. The music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first. And then, you know, like, and on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. And on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it hard and heavy, man. And I was like, oh, as I started moving upstairs, I passed them up and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys. It was more and more people just going at it. But at this particular party, Brandon T came up to me and he said, yo, man, like Satan will steal your soul in this industry, bro. And he was really like, he's like, I love your soul and your spirit and I want you to thrive, Craig. I don't want you to get devoured out here. And I just appreciated that because for him, he was like, he had seen some detriments and some of the dark side of things.
All right, so that's Lecrae, and he talks about what he saw specifically being there and how someone pretty much told him, like, look, if you don't get up out of here, you're gonna be one of them. And then I want to play this video right here, which has the last two experiences.
Party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know,
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in
Right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying?
Have you ever been to a Diddy party?
Now this is Mendici and Yandy. Yandy was someone's manager. Who was it? What's the boy from New York? She was in the music industry as well. I can't think right now. Yes, Jones, Mike Jones. No,
Jim
not Mike
Jones.
Jim Jones. Jim Jones. She was his manager for a little bit. And she's been in the music industry, and everybody know Mendici, you know, they're married. And so this is their story about being at a Diddy party. And not only are they telling the story, they're telling the story with their children in the living room. This is not a conversation just between them two. This is a conversation between them two and their two children.
I have, and the crazy thing is back in the days, because I worked at the label, Diddy would have parties that he would send out in his invitations. Ladies, go get your hair groomed, this, go get your nails done here, outfits from, men, go get your cuts from. He would give a whole to-do list in order to get into his parties.
Were they good?
I've only been to one, and I think it might have been a birthday party of his. It was.
Now, listen how Mendici was like, were they lit? Mendici Jr. And look how Mendici Sr. is like scratching his beard, looking off.
You know, I've been to Diddy's 30th birthday party.
Dun, 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 dun. So they both been to a Diddy party.
Ain't that crazy?
And you went to a house party?
A what?
A house party?
Yeah, I've been to plenty of house parties.
No, like Diddy house party.
Yeah, I think I made you there. Welcome to the world, scene. Thank you. So shout out to Diddy.
Oh, child.
Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Him and his wife was breaking it down in the party. Hey, listen, you know, okay, so we're using these things in the backdrop of him being indicted. These are parties with consensual people. So I don't see any criminality yet. Decadence, yes. But criminality, no, not based on these videos.
Look, I don't have the criminal evidence. If you came here to see that, I'm paying.
No. I'm just saying, but in the backdrop of we know that he's been indicted, the flavor of these stories takes a different turn, right? If you know, that's what I'm saying. They just do, you know, because in and himself, if he was just a Diddy, we were just talking about Diddy the mogul. We could show these same videos, and it's just we'll just say his party got lit. Wow, sexual, you know. In the backdrop of this, these like sounds the beginning of his sexual exploits. And you know, the thing about sex, right? The old mundane things get old, so you keep adding shit to it, adding stuff to it, you know. And I think that's what happened. Then it just went down into the rabbit hole where we could start saying maybe now some people are there against their will, or maybe some people are there because they want a record deal and they're doing things, the casting couch, and that kind of stuff, you know. So those things are prevalent. But you know, these videos, oh, his parties were freaky. Okay, I thought that from the beginning.
But
what's interesting, there's a difference.
Okay.
And Ray kind of alluded to it. There's the Diddy party that the average person might go to, be like, what was wrong with that? It was spectacular. It was marvelous. And then there's the after
party.
And that was limited to certain people who can take it, so to speak. No Diddy. But
no, I agree. I think that's exactly how it went down. But even the people who went to the other parties, I don't think they were regular people either. I mean, you had to be invited to a lot of stuff.
Agreed, but there's a difference between participating or understanding. You know, you can go to that.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and you feel like you're somebody, like you made it to your.
I got one for you though, Sean. While we're talking about this, let's just say the pre-party, right, where the average guys, the average quote unquote guys are going, right? You don't think that there's some people who broke off in those regular, the first sessions in some private? These are some big mansions, right? So you don't think somebody snuck a chick in the bathroom or this way and that way and had some fun even before the after party? I'm just asking.
A video where they admitted it and they have a child behind it.
Yeah, but was that the after party or the pre-party?
It was.
Look in Florida. I remember for work one time. There, you know, we go out.
Get freaky at parties.
Right. There's an after party, then there's an after party. And this was only when I was in Florida. Any other state that I've ever traveled to for work, there was never an after party. So it's like it's like, why is there an after party?
You're bringing up a good point. And the point that you're making that a lot of people overlook is that it takes place in a lot of industries. It takes place more so than just the entertainment industry. Now, it might be a bit more extravagant because the entertainment industry, that's what they, produce. But there's a lot of, when alcohol, for example, hits those corporate parties and gatherings and people start partaking, there's a lot of stories you go into corporate America about that their wives or husbands wouldn't want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
So let's, I just think that it's a bit more extravagant and entertaining in the entertainment business, music being the backdrop,
I'm sure,
than some of these other things. But the mindset is pretty similar, pretty parallel. Because even in those conventions, you have to be invited. You have to have you achieve certain things usually to be flown out to those conventions that are produced by corporate America. You have to be upper management. You have to be achieve certain things in sales or so on and so forth so you get there, and of course they do the business. That's the first part of it. But after they start pouring those drinks and there's another part. You all have hotel rooms. Instead of a mansion, it's in a big hotel. And you have these rooms that, hey, would you like to come in? And so it's the mindset is similar, although it's a different background and backdrop. And
Look at Coach Ferguson.
I mean, we talked about the business, right? So mingling and things of that nature comes with the business. But when you take it as far as when I'm ready to go and I say I'm ready to go, and now you holding me against my will, now we got a different situation here.
I agree with that.
Thing if it's like, oh, I'll stay the night, or I'll, I'm cool, I'm comfortable being here. But when I say I'm ready to go and you're not letting me go, we got a problem.
What's interesting about that? She just what's her name? Yan. What's her name? Yancy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, she just made a good point that lends to what you're saying. A lot of it was control. So you're ready to go, but if you were chauffeured there and it's in a place where you only can get chauffeured to or flown out, you're ready, your ability to dictate that or be able to even say that is limited. So the mindset that they're trying to hold them on might lend to what you just described. You ready to go, but guess what? You can't, because in order to go, you have to have a car get up there or a plane to actually get you out of there, because you were flown in or you were chauffeured in and you were taken there. And I say that because let's just say the Hollywood Hills. There's a lot of parties that are going out here. You can't get up there as a regular driver without being shuttled up there.
Right.
So it sometimes puts you in a position. Now you got to be shuttled back down to your car. And
well, you can get an Uber out of there. It's not like
no, that's not true. Is what I'm sharing with you. You can't. An Uber can't get up there.
Why?
It's blocked off.
They won't be able to get on the property,
and it's blocked off. So you can't get an Uber up there. Literally. So I understand it might be hard to fam it, but you literally, it's in a hill where you can't get up there. Whether it be traffic, whether it be cut off, or whether it just, it's not as easy as you're making it sound. It's not like calling Uber and it's
like I said, it's different because when I'm ready to leave the business function, we can leave. But if you put me in a situation where it's just like I can't leave, now this is turning into kidnapping, trafficking situation, which is what he is facing.
And this is why I'm describing that it's a very strong possibility that some of those charges, due to circumstantial or setup, could actually hold. Because go ahead, Fur.
No, okay. And this is what I'm trying to understand. Almost everybody that went to those parties, you already got some inkling of what was going on before you even said I'm going. Before you even decided to get your outfit, you already understood some capacity on how he moved. And I'm like, Precious, let's just say I can't get on the property, but damn it, we walk into that gate. We're going to be at the gate when that Uber show up, when that taxi cab show up.
The only reason why I do kind of agree with Sean is because I remember going to Florida. I treated my sister to a trip to Florida for her birthday, and people were advertising a party, right? So we're like, okay, well, let's go to the party. We're handing out tickets for this party. Now we're out of towners, so we don't know exactly where we're going, but we had a group. It was a group of us. It was me and her. I went to Florida with her, but we met a group of people. So we get to the place where we had to meet to get to the party. This party was at a mansion, okay, in Florida, where we got shuttled. Right? We met at a store in like off of the beach in Miami. Met at a store. They shuttled us to this mansion in Florida. And so when I said, "Oh, just get an Uber," we could have got an Uber to leave, but it wasn't Diddy running this mansion. It was this old white man whose wife was like 25. She wasn't even 30. Okay. Beautiful mansion. I mean, a pool in the middle of the living room, beautiful art on the walls, marble floors, pool on the second. It looked like it could had been used for a movie set. You could tell this man always throws parties out of this mansion. But I could see where he was coming from because we didn't know. Talk about moving with the grace of God, child. We could have been, we didn't know. But when you're in a control situation like that and you don't know what's coming for you and you don't know what's going on, them people probably went into a state of panic. Then they were drugged. We wasn't drugged. Like we were in our right minds, just, seeing what was going on. But these people are now drugged and now you're shuttled somewhere where you don't know where you're going. You don't just have regular access to these people's property because it's not just the average Joe Schmo property. And being there all night, not being able to have your phone, being recorded, not being able to take pictures or anything like that, you really don't know what's going to happen if you're steadily getting pumped drugs, yet you're having a quote unquote good time. See, we didn't have a good time. We got bad news when we were there, very tragic news actually when we were there. So that could have been God's way of saying, you don't need to be here. But these people who go willingly to these things, they think they know what's going to happen, but they have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying when you continuously live like this, though, because I would never do anything like that again. But when you continuously live like this, it's almost like I'm playing with fire every time I go into something blind like this.
Yeah. And to your point, you said a word that's critical: controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
Controlled. We don't realize how much control somebody has. Like we don't realize how much control the nation has when the president is arriving to a certain place. How many blocks, how much they plan on a route, how much control they have over a city when they come visit. Because we're not thinking that strategically often. We're just thinking to go see the president or the president's in town, there's traffic, but we're not even going into the point of they go weeks before to sometimes bulletproof buildings and secure buildings on the route of where they're attempting to go. So they would have already secured the whole route, not to mention the buildings on that route. And you would never really understand this unless you are part of that scenario. And I say that because when you get into the place of you're able to control, and this is a minimize, I use the president as a very significant example, but in that mansion, like she just described, it's a very controlled environment. Now, let's say it's up in the hills, right? You said you're going to be down at that gate. A quarter of a mile in the mountains in darkness is a lot different than you think when you actually say it. You walk about a block and you think, okay, where is it? And you still got to go a quarter of a mile and you hear nature, you hear, that changes your whole dynamic about when you get into that gate, because it's a quarter of a mile inside on the property and you're thinking, now I'm just going to walk to the gate and I'm just going to do this. And it's a lot easier said than done on some occasions.
But let's look at the reality of it. Ms. Precious, you spoke on it. Years ago, when you were a lot younger, we're not talking about 21, 22-year-old people. We're talking people with gray hair going to that shit, getting bent over. You know exactly what you're doing up in there. You know what's going on.
That's a different element.
I'm just saying that's what we're talking about. We're talking about dignitaries.
You're right. What he's being charged for are those 21-year-olds that were there, not the dignitaries that were partaking in the environment that he created.
But he had Beyonce and Jay-Z there.
Well,
they got to stay back. I'm just saying, we're not talking about young people. We're talking about old folk, people that know. You heard about a Diddy party? What they do at the Diddy party? Man, I ain't into that. I ain't going to his party.
Listen,
I don't need to break into the industry.
Let me tell you something else that regardless of how you want to push it, mystery enhances curiosity.
I don't give a damn.
But and if that's the case, then and Payne, no offense to you, when we go into sororities and fraternities, there's a hazing period that mystery is sometimes part of.
Brother, we talking 20-year-olds in college. You ain't talking no
No,
40-year-old with gray hair.
There are a lot of people who are out of college that are. I know somebody specifically that joined a
grad chapter
fraternity that was beyond college, but they wanted the privileges that come along with with being part of the
right. But
right.
they went to a grad chapter. It's a grad chapter. You know, older. It's
no,
older
so
people.
What I'm saying is that what I'm sharing with you is that I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the same mentality is what goes into it. They want to be part of something that they haven't been part of.
Yeah, but that's a different avenue to be a part of. Now we talking about a history of somebody who and think about black folk. We can't keep shit to ourselves. We gonna pass the word. Hey man, you go to that Diddy party at 1 o'clock. Hold on, you better be leaving, and you better find a way. Hey, a group of us, we gonna be holding hands going down that damn mountain. We gonna have our cell phone lights on. We walking. Pressure, take off your shoes because it's gonna be some rocks. You might have to go barefooted or throw on your flats. We getting out of there. We talking about grown folk. We talking about grown folk. We ain't talking about 20-year-olds, people trying to break into the industry. We talking about people that are already old enough to understand that you get the hell out of it. If I walk into a party and I see two people over boning, making out, whatever they doing, it's, you know what? I gotta get home, man. I shouldn't even. I'm gonna make a decision right there.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. What I'm sharing with you is that everybody doesn't think the same way you do, old and young, and it's not age. Like I said, it's not age that I'm speaking to. It's about what you value and what your lustful desires or what your vices are. That's what it boils down to. And if your vice is women, you're going, all of that, what you're speaking goes out the window. If your vice is money, all of what you're speaking about is going out the window. If your vice is alcohol, all of what you're speaking about is going out the window. If your vice is drugs, all of what you're speaking about is going out the window. Now, what your
vice is sex,
yeah, well, that's what I said. I use women, but sex, women, same scenario.
That's
so what you're saying is that you don't have those vices controlling you. But what I'm sharing with you is that many people don't have the discipline that you have.
Trey Ferg shaking his head. You know, ask him how he knows all these things. You know, that's all you got to do.
I'll answer that pretty easily. I've been in the industry since I was about 17 years.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Trey Ferg.
Moonwork Design Lab says it doesn't matter what level of wealth you attain, your lack of discipline and self-control will destroy you. And that is the truth. Okay, that's the truth. Now we're gonna get into Nancy Grace has some things to say about this whole ordeal, but this particular part was about the actual freak-offs.
Okay. Monty, speak with some degree of familiarity with Sean Puffy Combs' white parties, where everybody has to wear white. Hold on, it's not a.
I'm sorry, I said freak-offs. I meant his white parties, but I guess
these were the earlier parties, white parties. Yep.
Party for everybody. Listen.
Adria English, a dancer at Sean Combs' annual white party. She accuses Combs of grooming her for sex trafficking, forced her to have sex with guests. In her lawsuit, English says during one party, she was told to wear a black dress was a signal to others she was a sex worker. English says she went along with Diddy's demands out of fear for her safety and future job perspectives. English says When she broke ties with Combs, he ruined her career.
English also filed a police report with Miami Beach PD alleging Sean Combs coerced her into having sex with 3 guests in attendance at his white party. Miami Beach PD says the investigators will turn the evidence over to federal investigators who will decide whether to pursue charges.
So that's someone who was told to dress in black to come to the parties.
And
That's
the
sex
funny
worker.
thing is, she did it. So I can't really have too much grace for her because
Mhm.
she was told to dress in black and she dressed in black. And after
And she went.
and after the picture that I just saw, right after you saw the civilized picture, you see her doing the showing your butt. Here's your butt.
This is the part I have the most problem with when they talk about these women, like they don't have any agency over what they do. That's the only I have a real big problem with that. Now, did he offer them drugs? Did he actually ask them to have sex with 3 women, 3 guys? All that could be true. It's the way they characterize it that bothers me. You know, it's like when it comes to sex, like women never are responsible for anything that, well, I shouldn't say never. In these kind of cases, I don't see, you know, if he didn't have such a propensity of other evidence that could say that he could be a guy that forced you to do that. It's like one of the things the guy said, even on this one, he forced me to do it, but I really wanted to be successful. These are the kind of things that bother me. She really wanted to be successful, so she was susceptible to what he had to offer. That's the casting couch. That's what that is. Now, is it right? No. But you know what? She didn't want to be. She didn't want to work at Hooters. She didn't want to work, somewhere else. And so, and the same thing goes for the dudes too. It's not just. It wasn't just women on a casting couch. Men, some guys, were on a casting couch as well. And so I'm just saying. Is he a bastard for putting that up there? Of course, but I mean, we got to stop painting people as some, So these are the kind of charges he could get off on. I think you might not be able to prove that they were all innocent, And some of these women are just looking for money. Well, some of the defendants, plaintiffs, right? Plaintiffs are just looking for men and women, because you got men coming after him for money too. So I don't know, man. I have problems with it. And that doesn't make him a good dude, but I just can't stand when they just say, oh, you know what, you're such an innocent woman. And, man, all men did, he made you do it. It's just, that bothers me. That really does. Because it's not necessarily true, but it doesn't mean a bad thing didn't happen. But you wanted to be a star. You wanted to be a star, so you compromise yourself.
But can I ask this? Do you think P. Diddy know what these people do when he pull up on them? As far as these young women, I think
When you say young women, you mean women. I mean, we ain't talking about if they're underage, that's one thing. But if they're women, legal age, they're women.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as far as the women, how can he recognize to go up to just a random woman and be like, "Okay, I want you to."
Not random. They're not random. They want to be in the business.
Can I answer?
Some of them are random. That's why it is sex trafficking.
Can I answer?
No, what I'm saying is, as far as how like this young lady, how he wanted her to present herself. To me, I think he would already have an idea of what she does.
Well, here's the reason.
So,
here's where I could give you.
Okay, you help me out, man.
How that doesn't, because let's just say you meet somebody who's an average person, right? And the average bills of theirs are, let's say, $60,000 for the year for her rent, car expenses, and so on and so forth. That's an average day for you. So you have the conversation, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm in college and I'm doing this and I'm thinking about doing that. And I'm thinking, wow, I could help you. You know what? You just seem like such a nice person. I like your vibe. I'm feeling you. I'm puffy, blah, 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 blah. They already know who he is. I'm puffy. I feel your vibe. You know what? Today's your lucky day. Here you go. Go pay. How much is your college? Oh, really? Here, I'm gonna finance that. How much is your rent? Oh, really? I'm financing that. How much is your expenses? What would you, if you didn't have to do nothing else at all? What would you need? Oh, I don't know. Maybe about 100,000 is what my yearly. You know what? How about you come down and work for me? I got a party. You could just be a hostess. You don't got to do nothing. I want you to wear black because it'll make it's an all white party, but you'll be working there. So I want you to wear black and just come on down, have a good time, and you can be paid. So these are things that I'm just loosely coming up with a scenario that could possibly happen.
Yeah, there's a fatal flaw in this scenario. There's a fatal flaw in your scenario, Sean. It's a fatal flaw. Nobody gets all that shit for nothing, man. You can't just you just laid this whole thing out.
Wait, Payne.
She knows she would have to pay the piper for that.
Hey, Payne, that's not entirely true because
it is entirely true.
Let me share.
I mean, you're painting the girl as some idiot.
Let me share with you.
I mean, come on.
Let me share with you why. To your point, yes, but here's where it gets a little bit
okay.
Because there are you have heard of stories of Cinderella stories where people have come and said, you know what, you have such a bad life, we're going to gift you, especially celebrities. You see it on TV. Oprah Winfrey, hey, today's your day. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. So they say like this.
That's not the same thing.
But the point is, it's not the same thing because you're going on the specifics of what you would do. Now,
not. The scenario you painted is different than. It's not the same as Oprah giving these. Oprah doesn't have it. I'm gonna give you a car, but you know what? After I give you this car, I want you to come up with me and Stedman and go hang out. I mean,
right. The whole thing is you're talking about on her show, but let's just say that was a bad example. Oprah was a bad example.
Thank you.
But let's just say somebody like, and I'm using shows, and that's why it's a bad example but like a Steve Harvey show when they have somebody who wrote in and said, hey, I'm going through this. Well, what I'm sharing with you is that they see that, and then this is what he's speaking, and he's capable of providing it. So
I don't disagree with that part, though, Sean. I agree with you. All that stuff, the scenario on his part makes him a cad, makes him a groomer, it makes him all of these things. The only part I don't agree with is that the woman accepting all this thing thinks she's going to do that with no strings attached.
Well,
you got to be a complete idiot. Listen, I got 2 daughters. If one of my daughters came to me and gave me that story, I would say, I would feel I failed as a father.
I'm glad you said.
You know what I'm saying? Because they would never be that stupid.
You're lending into my point of view. Let me tell you how.
Okay,
now. They go home.
They didn't have no father.
They go home. No, they go home to their parents and say, hey, this is what's going on. And he says, hey, I'll meet your parents. I want to meet your parents. He comes across. Now, wait. This has happened.
Meeting the parents.
Cassie, this happened to specifically. We had this discussion before.
We did.
He went to my cousin. He went to her friend's house uninvited. Her cousin's house to a birthday party, uninvited, being very.
But again, it's Puffy. So you ain't invited. You don't ever go invited places. You walk to places and they invite you in. That's the case.
Your scenario is bad, man. It's just a bad scenario.
The point that I'm making, and this is what I said, I've seen it several times, is that you now go, R. Kelly was a good example, you now go to the parents, and the parents are coerced into agreeing to through
their horrible parents, man. Sean, if a guy came to me and said, I'm gonna hook your daughter up with all this stuff, they would have to almost kill me. You say, well, you think I'm stupid? I'm not a special. Don't give me none of this. I'm just a regular cat.
No, Payne.
Who knows when? I mean, come on.
Payne, you're not a regular cat. People have a price. That's what it boils down to.
So the parents had a price. They should go to jail too.
Yes, is my point.
Yeah, but you
he can afford the price.
You're still trying to absolve the woman from her accepting this stuff.
I'm just giving you a perspective of where it can be absolved. Now she going to her
let's talk probabilities. Let's talk probabilities and possibilities. Let me just say this, Sean. Give me the possibilities and probabilities of what you're saying is true. I mean, it's possible what you're saying is true, but it's probable that that many women are that naive.
Yo,
Maybe maybe it is. Maybe
it's not a possibility. I've seen it. I'm sharing this with you. We got records of it. I just gave you two examples. Cassie, records of it. R. Kelly and the girls
wanted to be a star. Cassie wanted to be a star. That makes all the difference in the world. You can't minimize that. She was willing to do anything for that.
Let's just say you had the dreams and attributes of being a getting through school. Just that. That's your dream. I want to finish school because it's gonna give me and somebody offers to pay for your school. Now, and this is what happens regularly. I'm going through school, you know, I'm just struggling. I'm a struggling person. And then you say, well, I could do that. Nah, I don't know if I want to do that. You know, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right. Well, why doesn't it feel right? Well, you know, it's just not how I was raised. Who raised you? Well, my parents. I don't mind talking to your parents. Let's talk to your parents. Now, you talk to your parents. You go to the parents. You're presenting nice. You're presenting everything is genuine. I'm not trying to groom them. I'm just trying to help them because I understand, and I've been in that predicament. I grew up in, and I had to struggle. So you laying out all of this stuff, and now you kind of in that conversation find out what triggers the parents' influence, what makes them tick, and you know you start going in. It's a pimp mentality, and
it plays on the desires of what the person wants.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't just mean so the person wants something so bad they're going to compromise themselves. That's what's going on.
I agree with you.
So you know, but I hear what you're saying. You know, I'm just saying you're trying to me. I hear what you're saying. All that stuff is possible. Probably happened to a lot of people. That still doesn't absolve the person who's the object of the grift of the thing because they wanted something so bad and somebody played on it.
Okay, so
they knew that. So is
that what? Didn't you just define what a victim is?
Well, what I'm trying to say, they're not victims. If
you
they're not necessarily a victim, they're not necessarily. There was this thing with hypnosis that if you get hypnotized, they can't hypnotize you to do the things you don't really want to do. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that before. Right, these people want to do something, and the grift guy, Sean Puff Daddy, says, "Well, how far do you want to go? What will you give up to get your dream? What would you give up to get your dream? Your dignity, your body, your anything? And you know what? I'll make sure your parents.
You don't say it that way. That's a movie you're talking about.
But that's no. I didn't say
what would you give up? They don't do it that way.
I'm not saying he said that. What you just said is just a different way of saying that. Because he's doing it to test to see what these people will give up.
And guess what? I agree. What? I'm not disputing that.
So we haven't found an agreement, but the way you say it tries to absolve the people.
No, what I'm saying is that okay, Payne, if you went on the street and somebody told you something and you wound up getting scammed, are you a victim or are you if somebody scammed you, are you
an idiot?
Okay, so this is where we have a disconnect. You feel that a person who got scammed is an idiot.
Yes.
And I feel that they can be a victim. Now it can be
they could be both.
It can be both. I agree with you.
You know, so I mean, you gotta be and the only way a scam works is because you're open to the suggestion of the scammer.
Agree, but if it's a legit,
I'm a Nigerian guy. I got $800,000 if you give me $1,000 over the mail, you're gonna get a check.
You're going to the extreme. Let me give you a better one.
Exactly what they did.
Wait, let me give you a better one that
you'll these scenarios back and forth to eat.
Wait.
Sorry, Francis.
Right, the 18th letter up here.
All night.
Precious, you gotta let me say this, please. You gotta let me say this. Our Payne, if you got offered the job by an illegitimate company, but they look legit, and they offered you the dream job that you wanted, and you wound up taking that job, but you didn't know that the company wasn't legit because everything looked very legitimate about the company. Are you an idiot?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Because you didn't check
hey,
out the
18th
company
letter.
on it.
Oh, okay.
You're an idiot.
Okay.
Go ahead, 18. You could be a victim and an idiot, but you're an idiot because if it's that good, you got to check it out. You got to know there's some infrastructure there. Go ahead. Hey, what's going on, 18th letter?
What's going on, Arpain? How you
Yeah,
doing?
man, we've been windmilling. Now windmilling, man. You know, I just wanted to windmill a little bit. What's going on, man?
I just want to give a shout out to Miss Precious. Thank you for allowing me on your platform, Miss Precious. Really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to the brother Sean Bolden, and I got to give a shout out to the OG Trey Ferg. How you been?
There you go. What's going on?
To answer Sean Bolden's question, his last question, if it's too good to be true, more than likely it's too good to be true. If things turned out to be illegitimate, once I got into that job and I realized that it was illegitimate or something wasn't right or something was not being ran properly, if it's my fault if I decide how long I'm going to stay. And then whatever happens to me, if I make the decision to stay, that's my fault. I got to hold on to that because I knew things felt, it's like if it's being ran by the mob or something, I knew things felt like it wasn't right and it was too good to be true, but I wanted to stay because I enjoyed the money. Or maybe it was, or maybe I wanted to look the other way because I felt like I wasn't going to run across another opportunity like that. So whatever happens in the end, if I end up falling victim to it, that was my fault because I felt things wasn't right, but I chose to stay because I thought I can benefit.
And you're right, but that's very hindsight. You can always come to that conclusion, hindsight. But let's just say Bad Boy is a legitimate company. So is Sean John. So is Revolt. And if you're offered a job there, let's say 18th letter, and it's a job that is a legitimate job, and of course you're making more because it's in a different industry than you're used to. You have been working regularly, so now you're getting a job. So you don't really know the scale, but the scale is above what you're used to. Let's say you're used to 50,000, and the scale in this industry is 150,000 for that type of position, and you're offered that. You're not looking at it as illegitimate. Now you get into this job and and it's working well. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, but you happen to get introduced or exposed or invited to something that seems to be pertaining to your job, but it's a party that your job is throwing or a convention that your job is throwing, and you go there to do your job. Now, while you're there, you've already gotten comfortable now because it's been your job for some time, and you get invited by, let's just say you're a fan of Beyonce, because she was mentioned earlier, and you get the opportunity through your job to be around Beyonce and Jay-Z simply because you're thinking it's your job. But they're like, hey, you want to come? And now your boss, Mr. Combs, is taking a liking to you. You're not thinking of it as he is grooming or he is doing something outside of your job. And this is the point where I say it's not as buffoon or foolish for you to get blindsided by something you're thinking is. Now, you heard all the stories about him as well. I'll throw that in. You heard all the stories about Puffy, but you're seeing a whole different side because you literally got a job offered by this man and is paying you legitimately. And so you're not thinking of any of these stories as being true. You're just thinking of them as being hearsay, or that's what people say from the outside. They don't really know. And so you continue to go through the process. And so you get an offer that isn't unreasonable. It isn't unethical. It's just something that you think is part of the benefits of your job. You've never been in this industry. That can happen.
So he didn't do anything wrong. It's when he asks you to do something you don't want to do.
Right.
That's you got to get to that point, Sean.
And I was getting there.
Let's
just say you had a drink at this party. Let's just say you had a drink at this party. You didn't know the drink was laced. You was just having
a drink.
This happens, Pain.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but you keep changing the scenario so you could be right. We're saying at that point you were drugged, but you don't know you got drugged.
I'm changing the scenario. I'm giving you perspective of what actually
happened. Let me just say this real quick, Sean. I'll say it's either one or two things. If they ask me to do something wrong,
Yeah.
I got one or two options.
Right.
Either I can say, you know what, to hell with that job. It's not worth my integrity. It's not worth me doing whatever. Or I can chose to, because I don't want to lose my money or lose my position, I can chose to do whatever they ask me and continue to do whatever they ask me, even though I know that is wrong. And then when the hammer comes down, I'll use plausible deniability and pretend that I didn't know and I didn't know what I was doing and everything, because I don't want to suffer the consequences of what I was doing, because now I'm trying to jump ship, even though I knew what I was doing was wrong, even though I had been asked to do multiple things that are wrong. I did it for the money and I did it for the opportunity for connections. Now that all of that is dissipating, and it's trials and federal agents that's involved. Now I can pretend that I didn't know what I was doing and I had nothing to do with it, and that I'm a victim too. I can play that game. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
and that's very legitimate point. I'm not disputing any of that. I agree with you. I agree with Payne. Even I'm not trying.
My point is that's what's going on. Some of these people are playing victim now because people they want Puff Daddy. They want P Diddy.
You're right, but that what I'm saying is that goes on throughout life.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And so I agree with you that we can't entirely take off the onus of responsibility from anybody, whether it be women or men. But sometimes it's not there, like they might not have known or might not even been exposed to some of those freak offs, but they were at all of the white parties. You know what I mean? They did their work, did that. But then now that they're associated to the white parties, they're getting deemed as if you knew about these freak offs.
well, it's just like when, first off, you know, in my personal opinion, based off of from what I've seen, Puffy is not innocent. We know that Puffy has been doing bad business for a while when it comes to, well, he's been following the blueprint of all of the other music moguls that he learned from to do bad business with his own people and put people in bad contracts and, you know, pretty much, you know, exploit their talent and then toss them to the wayside. So that's, you know, and I'm pretty sure he has been involved in, you know, really kinky stuff behind the scenes, and more than likely he probably was arrogant. And this is what happens when you become arrogant and you get a lot of money and power. It can all come crashing down based off of the decisions that you chose to make, where you've gotten a lot of people involved in this and you didn't think that this would come back to haunt you, because now the people that you might have done dirty that came to you for an opportunity, or, you know, was around you for an opportunity, now they see an opportunity in filing a civil suit and taking advantage of, you know, the media trashing your reputation. So now they see an opportunity in other ways to get money instead of actually being around you, you know, or, you know, trying to appease you for whatever opportunities you may have been able to offer. So with that being said, I just think it's a lot of misinformation going around as well. You've had a lot of people that have gotten up and said this and said that, and sometimes it just don't add up to me. And sometimes I think people, because with the internet being a new media, being a new television, you have a lot of people that see opportunities to make money, but just getting on here and just saying whatever. So I think it's been a lot of misinformation that's been spread. You've had celebrities who said they've been to Diddy's parties and he threw great parties, and they never saw nothing that was kinky or anything super X-rated. Now, grant you, they may have not probably gone into the deepest, darkest abyss of rooms in wherever they was partying. But, you know, they said that they didn't see anything, you know, and and for a very long time, Diddy was known for throwing great parties. That was a rumor that was around. Like, now all of this stuff is just popping up out of the blue. I've read some of the indictment, some of the pages. I didn't read the whole thing. And I think, you know, if he's being charged for, if it's undeniable proof on what he did, he's going to get what he got coming to him. You know, I don't know what's going on with the 1,000 gallons of baby oil and lubricant, all this other stuff that he had going. I'm like, even I'm like, come on, man, what you got going on? Like that, 1,000 bottles? What is like, so
a lot of people were
it's
involved.
obvious that you got something, you into something kinky, but it's a lot of other people that's kinky right along with them, that's into it. And all of these people, now we got to remember, it's called sex trafficking because it possibly took place across state lines. You had people that were either flying over or people that was driving over to be a part of this. It doesn't mean this was coerced or this was forced upon people. And that's the thing. I just think it's this narrative that's being painted that you got people like R. Kelly, people like Diddy, that they were out here, these, evil moguls forcing people into doing stuff that they wanted, they didn't want to do, or they didn't want to participate in. And I got all the money and all of this, so what you gonna do? And I can do this. Usually, like when people like that are very famous, you can't get away with doing stuff like that because your name is too big. And you can get sued for anything. As we see, a lot of these suits that people are filing are civil suits. That automatically means they're trying to get money. These are not criminal charges, because if the man did things to you that you felt he took something away from you or harmed you in any way, you're gonna want to file federal charges. In my personal opinion, with Cassie waited 7-8 years to file that civil suit against him because it was a some type of something in New York state law.
The New York law to get Donald Trump, they opened it up for a year. The Survivors Act, I believe.
Right. And I'm not saying, we saw the video. I'm not saying that Cassie deserved anything, but I just find it baffling to me that you would stay in this predicament for years on end. And, you're around this man and he's this super tyrant, as you would say. And then on top of it, you got your husband, you rolled off into the sunset with your husband. 7-8 years, you found the opportunity that you can get money from the situation, and you took advantage of it. When people saw that she was able to get money, everybody figured that they was going to get money, and then now a snowball is turning into a mountain. And everyone else, for the guys that filed lawsuits against Diddy, in my personal opinion, that's BS, because I'm a grown man, 6'1", 230 pounds. Ain't nobody forcing me to do nothing that I don't want to do.
Are they drugging you?
No, I'm watching everything around me. You're not just going to be giving me anything or nothing like that. And I just find that part hard to believe, Miss Precious, because I just can't. And then on top of it, why wait so long?
Let me ask you a question.
And I'm not defending Diddy. You just
let me ask you a question.
It's nuances to all of this. It's a lot of murky information.
I agree. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever been or know of anybody who's been bullied?
Yes, as children. I did.
Okay. As children. Okay. So why did they wait? Or why were they able to continue to get bullied?
They were afraid.
Okay. So why couldn't Cassie be afraid?
I mean, she could be afraid, but I would think at some particular point you would take action, because those kids that were bullied, at some particular point they took action.
Not always.
They wasn't going to tolerate it no more.
Not always.
Cassie wasn't a kid though.
Room was her action, and we saw what that action got her. She did try to do something. She tried to escape him. She actually got away from the hotel. We covered this. She got away from the hotel, left the hotel, went to her apartment, and came back to the hotel.
Well,
that's what I'm trying to understand.
We don't know how many times she got beat. See, that's the thing. We don't know how many times she got beat. I think it was, we saw that one time.
How many times?
But could she have gotten Stockholm syndrome? Maybe. She could have been.
What does it take to get beat or paid?
No. What I'm saying is the reason why she might have stayed is fear could have been part of it, and she might have got Stockholm from several beatings. We only saw one on camera. I would imagine that's not the first time he hit her.
And truth be told, people have said that they have both engaged in mutual combat, that they have put
Well,
hands on each
yeah,
other.
it's not really mutual with her. Smart ass.
Not in the video, but it has been people that said that they have fought. They have
That's
fought.
what I'm saying. So she might. Well, this is my only answer. Let me just say this. My only answer was for why she might have stayed. That's what Stockholm syndrome is. Women stay in abusive relationships all the time. This is nothing new. But I don't think it started out as physical like that. I think it started out him satisfying her need, her quest to be successful, and then he took it to another level, and now she's trapped. Then she was trapped.
You're right. And let me even build on it further. After they found out, after she did the lawsuit, they settled. He's singing "I'm Still Standing." 2 weeks after, he made a statement. These allegations of me are so false. Now imagine this is what you're going through. You now think it's over. You got your settlement. It's good, and then he still comes back and say you so full of it. This, that, and another. Until this tape leaks, but he did this. If that tape didn't exist, guess
everybody
what?
who's guilty of something says they're going to be innocent. I mean, nobody comes down and says I'm guilty.
No, wait, Payne. They
can just keep their mouth shut.
No, that's my point. He had the opportunity to keep his mouth shut, and not only did he have the opportunity, he specifically came to deny all things spoken. I don't know. She crazy. How did he start it, Precious? These because remember you said
all right. So what's the point you're trying to make?
The point that I'm saying is that torment of somebody who's that powerful and you trying to get out of it. You finally get out of it. What I'm sharing with you is that prior to all of this, you just mentioned the Stockholm syndrome, but prior to all of this, there could have been a buildup because every time she brings it to somebody, it's denied, it's covered up, you're looked at like you're crazy.
Yeah, but all the stuff you said after that is after she got her money. After she got her money, what she care what he says?
Well,
after she got paid, why does she give a shit what he says?
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about him and how he does things.
Okay, Diddy's a bad dude. I mean, we already established that.
Let me tell you why she cares. Because after she got the money, she still is thinking that her mental is now free.
Get out of here, man. She's over the man. She's drinking fucking Mai Tais and doing all kinds. Excuse my language. Man, get out of here, man. She's living her life right now.
Money solves
money solves a lot of things, especially therapy.
Money solves.
Okay, let's not just.
Ask rich people who kill themselves.
Well, hold on, man. But not as much as poor people.
Money. If it wasn't about the money, she would have filed criminal charges and tried to get him.
I mean, why are we going to minimize the money? You can't minimize the money.
Wait,
you can't minimize the importance of money.
First off, you emphasize it. I'm not minimizing. I'm just
I'm emphasizing it because it matters.
It doesn't matter to everyone.
It mattered to her. That's why she went after it.
I would say, Sean. I would say, brother, a civil lawsuit is about money. Period.
Do you realize
if it's not a criminal lawsuit?
Right,
it's about the money.
Now, I will say you're right, but how many people go through who can afford to go through? Do you know how mentally draining it is to go through a criminal lawsuit when you ain't got no money to fight it?
You could put criminal charges.
Men, are you sitting there trying to tell me that we don't understand going through a criminal process can be tolling on your life?
But what are you trying to? She got paid, man. She listen, she deserved every penny, especially after the beating she took.
Yeah,
and how many beatings we don't know. But
she said she was doing it for women. She got the money, signed the NDA, and we ain't seen her since.
That's right. She's doing it for women. That money does a lot of healing. You could pay for the best therapist.
Like if everything with what they accused him of, he deserved to go to prison, for what he did. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that all of these other peoples was just little Red Riding Hoods and he was the big wolf. They played a part in it too. And I take that stance with everything. Just like when R. Kelly went to jail, it should have been a lot of parents that was sitting in that jail cell right along with
Absolutely.
But it's not about that. It's about taking one person, but painting a certain narrative, and then since most people can't critically think or are not willing to actually do the research to understand the nuances of the cases and the information, they just go along with the popular narrative and then crucify that person and then go on to the next person to crucify. So that's it.
That's a great point. Salute to black folk, because we're gonna crucify him first, and we've crucified him ever since it came out. But and this is just my take. It probably be a little off the topic. Even with, Cassie was the one that really brought everything to light. However, she was in with him on some of his most intimate moments, and the way she was allowed to really just have no accountability into anything that took place, because she was with him when Kim Porter passed.
Yeah.
She was part of that dynamic, and she disappeared, but then everything was okay. And this is off topic. When she got with that white guy, listen, you go be fine or you go have some money. You better go get that money from P. Diddy for us to have this lifestyle. And now you don't hear anything else about it. So it wasn't about the criminality of his actions. It was just about the money. And that's where Puffy's put himself at. He was a billion. He was categorized as a billionaire 1 week. 2 weeks later, now all of these charges come about. But let them raid our houses. See if we're not taken down and handcuffed that day.
That's right.
See if we not, but it's been months, and now they just really talking about the trafficking. The list is going to be very long. Very long.
Yeah.
I would like to see how many of those people are standing with him when they try him, more than likely convict him, because the list goes beyond the American borders too. It's gonna be ugly.
He's not, like I said before you came on. I think he may never be free again.
Yeah.
He may never get out of jail again.
I agree, and Coach, to your point, you're right. But here's what reason why cooperating witnesses do the same. They are participating, sometimes even guilty of doing a crime. And they're never heard again. So I'm not surprised. And if you can get money in the process of it, of course. Now you got to realize she could have got the money prior to, but his arrogance is what I'm speaking to. When I speak to after the fact of giving up the money, I'm still standing, and him still and then him putting out this statement that they're assassinating my character and this, that, and another. Leave well enough alone. But no, he could not. His arrogance could not allow that. And this is what I'm speaking to and why we're having this conversation today. It's because his arrogance. And that's what I'm speaking to. I'm not speaking that she didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. Cool, whatever. We could go into a lot of rabbit holes with that.
Yeah.
Point being,
do you think it was just her, this catalyst for the FBI raid and all that? I think she might have been. I think that's the visible sign, but I think there was more going on that we don't know.
There were other artists, female artists, who came out to say that Diddy, had been involved in things like this, that they even said that they had seen him put his hands on her, and some members of Danity Kane came out, and we're gonna shift gears a little bit, because with Diddy doing all of this, Diddy is what, 52, 54?
54.
So 54, and he is now at a point where he is locked up. They talk about the conditions that he in is less than all that. But you're 54 years old. You have your children. Again, it's pathetic to me, because as an adult, you continue to do continue to just dwell in your wrongdoing and not thinking that wrongdoing is not going to be the answer to what's going on with you. But I want to play this video because this guy, Gene, he talked about all of this information actually coming out in September, and now it's September and it's, you know, actually here. But he also talks about, you know, where Diddy got this from, because you're 54 years old. You've been doing this for a long time. So, you know, you had to have mentors. You had to have people that were kind of discipling you in this type of way in this music industry. So I want to switch gears and get to some of these clips that were kind of like very lightly edited.
And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. From the people that mentored him. You got to realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. And then he probably, it made him into a monster, bro. I personally feel like he got a lot of the things that he did from his mentor, and then he probably did it to the 10th power. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he was a drug abuser. You understand? Russell Simmons admitted that he used to put his hands on women. So it's a learned behavior, bro. Some of that stuff may be in him through his childhood. Through his childhood, he may have some of that things in him, but a lot of things that he was doing was a learned behavior, bro. Biggs to his death. He caused a rift between Wolf and BMF that led to Wolf death. Cussed Wolf mother out. Lied about owing him $300,000. Because you had asked me how I feel, and I'm going to get into how I feel. Took a good friend of ours who raised money when he had the City College tragedy. A good friend of ours did things to make him popular in Harlem. Let him hang with us, be part of our crew the whole 9 yards. Disrespected him and wouldn't help him. This is how I feel about him being locked up and going to jail. Some people, their karma is so strong for what they do and what they did. The stuff that he did to Craig Mack. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that he did to Black Rob and all those people in the spiritual world right now. His karma was about to catch up and was bound to catch up with him. You understand what I'm saying? His karma was bound to catch up with him, brother. So all these things that's going on right now, the learned behavior, what he got from these people who was not living spiritually correct with their behaviors and the things that they've done, he go and transfer and do that to people with the fact of all these people that he's hurt, that always helped him and been on his side and been there for him. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're gonna ever read about, bruh. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this shit in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself because he knew that he was wrong, and he knew that he learned something that wasn't right. He know different from right and wrong, bro. You have a way to change. You know when something is right and when something is wrong, and you know if you're wrong, you get help. He didn't choose none of that, bro.
So, two questions. Why don't y'all think he didn't get help and stop what he was doing? I mean, it's Diddy. You have a lot of money. You have these artists. You're bringing in a lot of money. Or do you think that's where the majority of his money came in from? Was it from the music or was it from the mess?
No, it was from the music. All of the publishing. We forget Diddy is known for being a great hip hop. He produced timeless hits. We first, before he came with Bad Boy Records, he was a part of Uptown Records, where we forget he produced Mary J. Blige's first album. He was producing music for Jodeci and managing things in Jodeci's career. Then came Bad Boy, Craig Mack and Biggie and Total and Black Rob and G Dep and Faith and Lil Kim and all of these people. So majority of the music came from the majority of the income came from the music. And it also came from, the deals and everything he did on the side, which, stems from what he did in the music industry. Is it a possibility he did bad business? Probably. Did he use a form of business contracts that he might have got the blueprint from a lot of these other record labels? Absolutely. Did he take advantage of people that was from the ghetto that was looking for a way out that didn't understand the music business? More than likely. Because one thing I've noticed about Black people, we know we can't really get over on other groups of people because we stand out like a sore thumb. So we take their blueprint that they use against us and we use it on people that look like us to try to get, a standing and, to try to get a foothold in the business. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think happened. Was he arrogant and was he a person that was probably he didn't get help because it's accepted in that industry. When you have money and power, you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things and get away with a lot of stuff. And it's very well accepted, especially if you rubbing elbows with a lot of other people that's telling you the stories of what they was doing. Oh, yeah, we used to do all this when we was younger, and I used to do this and indulge in that. You think you can, and then it's steady no matter what you're doing, it's still people that's coming because they're trying to get up under you because they want to see if they can get an opportunity to, be a star or get an opportunity to make millions and different things like that. So it really wasn't no incentive for him to get help. But what he did to Cassie, what he did to Kim Porter, all of that other stuff, the chickens is coming home to roost on that. You know, but I just think me personally, I just think it's a lot of misinformation along with some truthful information. But it's a lot of other people that's involved as well.
Miss Precious, could you ask that question again?
Why don't you think he stopped? And is it because the money from what he was doing was too good? Like, was the money, you know, was the majority of his money coming from that, or was it coming from the music? Or because, I mean, he used it as a business model, was it just all part of the business?
I think, well, one, the reason why I believe he didn't stop, because like all people that dibble and dabble in any criminal activity, they become greedy. You get away with it a few times, then the more you get into it, the more exciting it becomes, and you just become greedy. You get caught up in it, you consumed by it. But outside of music, listen, and call me whatever. I done bought every cologne he done put out. All of them are fire. I like them all, and he has clothes. He's been in the clothing industry for a very long time, and his clothes sell very well. Well, they were selling very well. Now you can't really get too much of anything of his, but at least 10 or 15 years he's been, in fragrances and clothes. And on top of the music, Mace has talked about it, how he's sort of, and Mace ain't had a hit since what, 2000, 99, 90 something, so just shady business deals like any other music executive, and now, with everything else added to it, who knows? I would like to see his financial sheet of where he got a lot of his income over the last 10 years, but I would say it's a little mixture of everything, but greed and arrogance, being in a position where you can meet people who sort of, because to me, a lot of those people who were invited to those parties that got to the after party, they came there for that reason. They could give a damn about just socializing with somebody like me and our pain showing up at the party, but they came for a reason. So you don't travel to another country just to hang out and kick it and drink some nasty ass Ciroc. You coming from that little traffic at the end of the day. What's her name? I don't. I mean, I'm just throwing it, saying it. But hey, go get Saprita. Tell her meet me over in the back room with the gold door on it, and bring some of that baby oil with her. So
You mean
Hey,
Carisha?
yeah,
so well, the saying really is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's why he didn't change. Nobody gives up power, and if the devil was in him, was no way to get out. It has to be exercised, and right now it's being exercised. And unfortunately, it's a little too late. So he had a lot of money. The lawyers are gonna bleed whatever money he has left in all the lawsuits. He's gonna be, like I said, I don't think he's ever gonna be free again. Some of these charges are gonna stick. Some of them are gonna go away because RICO charges, they might sound good on paper, but if you look at the RICO case against the YSL down in Atlanta, half the shit's falling apart in a lot of areas because the way those charges are structured. So he had a legitimate business, and he used some of those logistics of his business to do some criminal things. But there's a lot to ferret out, and it was interesting to me that some of the people who are ahead in that little graph you showed were women. You know what I'm saying? And, so I think that kind of makes it even a little bit more insidious. Not because women, because who should know better but women about people getting trafficked like that? Because most of the people probably, women being trafficked. So you got to prove a lot of that stuff. You really got to prove a lot of it. That's the only thing I'm saying. It's going to be salacious. We know that he's not clean. So it's easy to say, he's guilty of everything, but it's gonna be interesting to see how it fleshes out. But he's not getting out. I mean,
Right. They confiscated so many tapes, so many phones. You got to think if he was, they were at that hotel where, the beating of Cassie took place and she left, and there were hotel workers who knew, kind of tried to give her counsel and say, hey, why would you want to go back in there?
Well, they stopped it, didn't they? Didn't they stop her from going back in? I think somebody stopped her from going back.
I thought she went back in, but even with the freak off being at the hotel, right? If you are recording all of this stuff, I saw or I heard someone say, if you're recording all of this stuff and you're doing it on Wi-Fi, it's easy for them to track that down.
Right. It's a double-edged sword with those recordings. Some of those recordings are going to actually exonerate them.
Well, we'll see.
No, I'm saying because it's going to show that a lot of stuff was consensual.
We'll see.
Well, yes, it's consensual at first, but when you continue to drug someone, when you continue to
we're adding drugs, you're adding that in there. We don't know. I mean, that's a different part of it. But
they found that too. They found drugs. They confiscated. What do they call it? The pink cocaine or something like that he likes to use.
I mean, they showed him putting it up somebody's nose, or people taking it on their own?
Because there's a lot of people that say that they that was the same thing with
Yeah.
Bill Cosby and everything. For all we know, these people can be lying and they participated in the drug use with him
Well,
or along with
There
him.
could be a combination of both, because if he owned the drug,
like putting.
Well, the difference between him and Bill Cosby is that Bill had already settled the cases that were reopened, and that's why he's out now, because it was really against against the law.
well, they used some of his
Yeah.
testimony illegally. Yeah.
Right. So
I'm sure
that's the difference. Whereas Diddy doesn't have that luxury as of right now. It is what it is. But what's interesting about it, I keep going back to the tape. Do you realize? Let's just say. Well, first, let me ask you a question. Why didn't he seek counsel? It's been spoken about, but I would say this easily: money is addictive, and power is intoxicating, and he was a victim of both. So, and he felt that he could control everything and no one can control him. So that's why. Why would he need to? He's controlling everything. Why would he need to get help? He doesn't feel he needs help. He doesn't feel, he gets away with everything. It's like a spoiled kid. If you get away with everything, you don't feel that you're getting away with anything.
So victim or purveyor of both?
What was I think both. I say victim only because it's unfortunate, as Gene was just saying, that he was actually touched in the past, and he basically hurt people. Hurt people is a saying that is commonly spoken about.
I gotta disagree, Sean. I just don't think a grown man being touched and then you turning around and it don't add up to me.
I mean,
and I don't think he was touched at all. Like,
have you spoken to victims who've been touched?
People as children, yeah, I knew two people as children.
Now,
you have no free will as a child. You can't really defend somebody off as a child. As an adult, a grown, unless from my understanding, unless you're like in prison, or maybe it goes back to what Miss
adults in prison. Have you spoken to any of them? It was my question. You said children you've spoken to. Have you spoken to any adults that have been touched?
No, I never knew any adults that have been touched.
Okay, well, he might be one. And not to excuse.
So you've spoken to some adults that's been touched?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what was the scenario behind that? Did they?
I mean, you just mentioned one, jail. The thirst, the compromising of their integrity because of this industry is another one, or because of what they're pursuing their dreams. I've had conversations with people who have compromised their integrity due to their dreams, similar to what we're talking about here.
And these was men.
Yes,
these was men, grown men. Man.
Yeah. What you got to realize, it's what you value versus what they value. I understand you value your integrity. They valued the success, accolades, and money.
So they was willing to compromise their manhood as grown men for money.
Not they were willing, they did. It wasn't no will. It's beyond willing.
Then that's them.
Okay. And the point is, I'm not judging it one way or the other. Them versus what your integrity is your integrity, and what you value is what you value. I'm just sharing with you that people value things that you don't. And I don't value those things, so I can understand where you're coming from. And that's why I had some of the conversations like, yo, how could you do that? And why? And some of the answers, I was like, oh, well, I guess you value. They wanted as Payne said, they wanted the fame, they wanted the fortune, they wanted all of these things. And they would go to any means to get it. And so once you go to that, and this is what the point I was making, he went to those extremes. So he feels that anybody behind him, or anybody who that's what they got to do. This is what you got to do. So I ain't trying to hear you not doing any of this. You say you want this. This is what you got to do. And so they now he's influencing and coercing them to do exactly what he did. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just sharing with you that
and you say influencing and coercing
Yeah.
someone that's already an adult.
And the interesting thing is that even in jail, I haven't spoken to a lot of people who, as a matter of fact, let me take that back. I haven't spoken to anyone. Let me reverse it. I've heard about a story, and the story that I'm thinking about and where I got that from and what was embedded in my mind is the cat that they call, he called himself, or they called himself the booty bandit, and how he shared that he sometimes didn't even have to do much of anything. Just his intimidating presence made grown men bow down to his desires. And again, I'm not, I can't say one way or the other that how I'm not judging it. Let's just say that I don't agree with it. I'll even say it that way. But the point is that it has happened. And so while it has happened there, I've seen it happen in the industry where people had just did strange things for change, both men and women, that I'm like, yo, whoa, really? And these are people who you would think would never do anything grown, prestigious, even educated, all of that. And and I'm like, wow, you really decided, whoa, because they were intrigued or they were in awe of this lifestyle.
Sean.
Yeah.
This probability that you're speaking of to me, and when you're talking grown, I can see 15, 16, 18, 21, but when you're talking people 35 and 40, this is something they either did before or always wanted to do. Just by somebody speaking words to you, and next thing you know, they got baby oil on your back. They wanted to do this.
I mean, in
They
fairness,
wanted to do it.
I didn't identify what grown was. And if you're and grown to me is 18 or over. So I'm not specifying that with somebody 35, 40, 50. I'm not even implying that. I'm saying grown is over 18.
Yeah, but okay, but that age is impressionable. That's why, you can pull up in your nice little wheel, show $200 in ones, and you can get a young girl to go. But for the most part, in Diddy's case, we talking about grown people. We're talking about adults with gray hair and everything.
Okay, well, to your point, you made the point of impressionable. Impressionable doesn't have an age.
But
depends on what impresses you.
But what I'm saying is,
impresses a lot of people, and when you have
wanted to do that.
What was that? I'm saying I'm not
wanted to do
I'm not
that.
saying that they didn't want to. That's never been my statement. I'm saying that impressionable is what I'm glad you used that word, is what I'm speaking to. Impressionable doesn't have an age. I've seen a lot of people who are of age, who's smart, intelligent, educated, every accolade you could talk, doctors, so on, who were impressed by something, specifically money. Money is usually the most influential impression that swerves people in directions that they wouldn't normally do.
But he's not offering money. He's just offering you come to the party. And this is what I guess I've always believed: mind over matter. It doesn't, just because somebody has something and I may want it, I'm identified as a man. And listen, I've been in sports all my life. You can't even get elbow close to me. I never played basketball with my shirt off. But to be grown man, and somebody's offering me an opportunity, and here I am, mature minded, just because you offered me an opportunity to rap, get in the industry where by the time your ass is 30, you too damn old any damn way. And
Hey, Trey Ferg, we're looking for a light-skinned brother, man, to play this part, man.
I'm glad you went that direction, man. I'm glad you went that direction, Payne, and I'm going to use it to you, Coach. If somebody came up to you, hey, Coach, I have an opportunity to be in a movie for you to just, I want you to stretch it. I just want you to be a coach in this movie. I like the way that you're able to, your visual, you're able to do that. And the movie position, just for your cameo, we're going to pay you $1 million. Now, again, you're not an opportunist. That's what you just described. And it's not always that money is intriguing to you. I get it. But if that just so happened to come your way, hey, I got a position for you, a cameo in a movie, because I seen you coaching and I want that tenacity and I want the realness of it. And I want you to be part of the movie. And, it's not a big role, but it's a role that pays $1 million. You have some speaking parts that you might need to do.
Go on, get to it, Sean. Maybe get to it.
I'm a salesperson. So the point is that
sales right, bro. That person with that sales.
And I accomplished getting what I need.
Sean, get to it, man.
I just asked you a question. Y'all was too busy listening to me again. But
okay, so what is okay? So
would that be intriguing to you?
Okay, yes. If you giving me but now you coming with the umbrella of it. There's a possibility for me to be in a movie. Now I need to see the script.
I mean, it's a legitimate.
You can't leave that out, Sean.
Sean, I gotta see the script now.
You just finished saying yes, you're interested. I just told you
I'm interested. I'm interested in the yes.
Now
But now I gotta see the script.
You got the script. It's exactly what I said.
I'm reading through the script.
It's
I gotta
exactly
take my shirt off and hug Sean. No, I ain't doing that shit.
No, it does. That ain't part of the script. That's something you put in.
What I'm saying, man. What's the dynamic?
It says you got to go to a Turkish bath and be naked in there with that. In the Turkish.
No, I ain't.
Put a caveat in the script. Seeing that y'all put a caveat in the script, let me put this as a caveat. You have to. You have to. There's going to be a scene where it's going to be where you're going to show your skills, and it's going to be shirts versus no shirts. So you got to be on a no shirts team.
As a coach or the player?
No. The scene is that he's now coming in. They're playing a pickup game. He's still a coach, but they're playing a pickup game. He's participating in it to show how he got to being a coach.
Again, I just said I never played. When I played shirts against men, I was always shirts.
Right.
For me, that was something that was. I never wanted a man's. Listen, outside of my father and my. That's why I didn't wrestle. I never wanted a man's bare skin to touch me on my arms, on my back, on my chest. None of that.
Exactly the same way. I'm exactly the same way. I'm exactly the same way.
So
I would lose out.
Why I say that is because you two are rare and very unique, and I commend you for it, than the average person.
It's not rare, Sean. Okay, maybe in today's generation,
okay,
guys would do that, but
I just told you, gray beards. A lot of gray beards is going to take that $1 million to be in a picture. Just all they have to do is have a shirt off. You two are not. I understand it. I can respect.
But that's not a compromise.
Like
no. See, Sean, you're soft shoeing the thing, man. You don't want to get to the point. It's got to be a question. It's got to be a ask for that money. You got to ask a person something that they won't normally do.
So we got to go Brokeback Mountain style. You
can't just leave it out there.
No. Until today, I did not know either of you would not go and play shirts off in any capacity. It's only playing a basketball game with your shirt off. Wait. Both of you said that you would not do it. I respect that. I'm trying to tell you that people do it for no money and being offered $1 million to do it.
No. I didn't say. Listen, if I got $1 million,
looking like a true silver.
I'm sorry.
I used to like that song. Little kid.
That's a whole nother meaning now, wasn't it?
I'm sorry.
Man, she, at least those bruises ain't on her.
To turn down $50 million 4 times.
Sean, listen.
4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely. I've had
the point. That's I'm glad you did that.
What Ferg was trying to tell you. Okay,
I already know that. But what I'm trying to tell you is Cat Williams is rare like Ferg and like myself.
It ain't rare.
Well, you asked him and he gave you that answer.
And what did I say? I say I respect that. I just said you're projecting that more people are like you, and it's rare to be like that.
It is.
You don't have a lot of Cat Williams. You don't have a lot of coaches. You don't have a lot of these people who will not do that. Is all I'm sharing with you. As a matter of fact, if we were to scale it, it would be more over 50% who will do it than not. But y'all sitting there acting like y'all don't understand that.
No. Listen, Sean. But we gotta put the scale right. Cat Williams talks about his virgin booty hole. There's a lot of men who wouldn't compromise themselves for that. That's what Cat Williams just said. He said he ain't taking no money for that.
A lot of men in his position.
It don't have to be in his position. Let me tell you, the majority of heterosexual men are not going to give up their booty hole for money.
I agree with you.
They probably aren't heterosexual.
But then that's a whole different story then.
I'm trying to share with you the story that it doesn't know heterosexual, if that's going to be the caveat, doesn't exist as often in this industry. So a lot of people leave the industry because they don't want to deal with that. I left the industry because it's a shallow industry and it has a lot of those elements. I did it by choice. Not everybody does that. Who has opportunity?
We know not everybody does that. But the people who do that can't come back and claim that they're victims. The people who actually compromise themselves can't come back and say they're victims. They make choices.
I agree with that.
That's all. That's the whole point of this whole conversation. Us windmilling back.
What's the point then?
So, Sean, let me ask you this real quick.
Yes, sir.
Were you ever offered a role in any capacity to compromise yourself?
I wasn't offered a role to compromise myself. No.
Okay.
But have I seen it? Absolutely. Have I seen people who have taken it? Absolutely. Everything that Cat said when he came out with it, I was in total agreement with. I understood it. I clearly saw it. And people were like, oh, no, he shouldn't. And no, he didn't. And this didn't happen. I'm like, yo, it ain't Monique. It ain't far-fetched. Everything they speaking about. But everybody takes the position like, oh, no, it's a money grab. They want attention. And I'm like, no, they just speaking the truth. They're exposing the truth. The truth existed. They just exposed it.
Yeah, you're correct. I just think that I don't know. I think let's just put it real world. I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger took a big hit for doing Brokeback Mountain in their careers until he did Batman, which he was absolutely fantastic in. I think that it took him a while to get that stigma of. Because you have to. This is no way. I just the whole thing just kind of is repulsive. I mean, I never watched the movie. I just know enough about it. But the fact is, I think it hurt their career. I think it hurt their career a little bit. But Jake, he bounced back after a couple of years. But every time I see him, I think Brokeback Mountain.
Like I said, I've never seen the movie. I never seen Precious. So
I have never seen Precious either. I didn't want to see it.
And I hear a similar.
Oh, not you, Precious.
No, not me. I know see me, but in this box. I know y'all ain't never seen me. Y'all never seen the movie? That's like people saying I ain't never seen
I couldn't watch it. I didn't watch it on purpose because I knew what it's about. I didn't want to see a movie about that kind of abuse. I didn't see any kind of entertainment value in watching something.
I've never seen it.
Everything don't have to be internet.
I've never seen that. I've never seen Brokeback Mountain, and I was tricked into seeing that movie. I forget what it's called now. Twilight, Moonlight, something like that. It won an Oscar or something. And I was tricked into that. And I was so mad at the end when I found
Twilight. You mean the vampire movie?
Nah, it was. Remember they had that mix up on who won the Oscar of Best Picture. He said the wrong movie, and it was Steve Harvey. No, not Steve Harvey.
No, I can't remember.
They said the wrong movie, and they was like, "Oh, wait, it's a mistake. The right movie is so and so." Well, it was something with a moon or something, and it was about growing up in our community. And I forget what it's called, man. But it was basically two hood guys who grew up in the hood street, and they wound up doing a boat mountain. Moonlight. That's what somebody's saying, Moonlight. And I was tricked into that.
And won an Oscar?
It won an Oscar of the Best Picture. And it could have been and that's who starred in it. And I literally, man, I was tricked into that. And it's funny because the plot of the movie don't happen to the end. So I'm looking at the whole movie like, what's so special about this? What? Yo, why are people raving over it? Why did it win the Best Picture? This, that, and another.
Because the Academy is they pump the alphabet stuff. So
right. And so when they exposed it, I was just mad. I was mad at the person who told me, "Nah, you need to see it." I was so mad.
What you see, you can't unsee it. What you see, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, he was just.
They told you you need to see it, but did they tell you that there were going to be scenes like that? And
no, they didn't tell me. I had just heard about the movie winning or being nominated, whatever it was, and I was speaking to one of my people. I'm like, "Yo, you talking about this movie? I don't even know. I never seen it." And when I said that, he said, "Oh, you should see it." I didn't know about the movie.
He was grooming.
It's a good movie. I heard. Man.
He was grooming him. He was grooming you.
And all through the movie,
Sean was a victim.
Yeah. He was you up.
And all through the movie, I just kept on thinking,
willing
like,
participant.
what's so special about this movie? Ain't nothing special.
Did y'all watch it together?
Hell no.
It's just some funny thing, man.
You're touching a sensitive spot right now.
That's funny. So, I was watching a movie. I went to a movie to see Alexander the Great when they had Colin Farrell and those guys, and he was talking. That's back in the old Greeks. They were all like, gay and stuff. So I'm in a movie. It's crowded, right? So I was thinking I'm gonna go see a war movie. Him conquering the Peru. So him and his apprentice and these guys, they started talking to each other, right? And they started talking about how they love and how much in love with each other they are. And it just came. I said, what's going on here? What's going on? I said, just out loud. It was like, I just said, what's happening? People just started laughing because they were like saying love stuff to them. I said, and then the movie turned into like this big gay fest. It was a big, I said, it was Oliver Stone who did it. I said, what the hell, man? They had all these beautiful women there, but it was just, they were more interested in the boys. And I said, Oliver Stone, man. I said, listen, man, he got me to the movie theater under false pretense. I wanted to see him take over the world. Alexander the Great, right? Woo.
Taking over.
The only saving grace, it was Rosario Dawson.
Man, that's hilarious.
That's just,
yeah. I guess
we talked about Diddy and all these influences that he had in his life, prior to being at this age and still doing this stuff. But they ran into Clive Davis on the street and they asked him about Diddy and see what he had to say.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
People are curious about the status of P. Diddy.
Status of what?
P. Diddy.
Who?
Diddy. What do you make of that situation?
I don't recall.
No comment from Clive Davis on P. Diddy. Mr. Davis, you're a major influence on the career of P. Diddy. Have you spoken to him since the federal raid?
Oh, you could.
Yes. Have you spoken to Sean Combs?
Silence is deafening.
Why do you take that selfie?
But you know what? I would admit, yeah, I guess he knows who he is, but I think I would have said Sean Combs.
My here's what that is to me.
Look,
My homeboy Monica says it all the time. He said how conveniently Sammy Sosa, when he was asked about it, didn't speak English.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That one.
And that's what I feel happened just now with Clyde. I can't hear you. I'm too old.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. You know what? You got to play the old card, man. Shoot.
No, someone that's like somebody asking him about Whitney Houston.
In fairness,
what you say, Precious?
In fairness, if what Jeff just said is true, then I gotta say maybe it's not. He said Clive Davis is currently 92.
And
92? Wow.
If he's 92, that I can. That
he
reaction.
took that selfie. He took that picture with that person who just randomly appeared out of nowhere.
What?
Then did you see the boy's face when he ran after he took the selfie? Did you see the boy's face? Like the mission is done. Like,
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look how he is, right? He don't probably even know who Clive is.
Since the federal raid.
He posed for him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing.
Okay.
He posed for this picture, but couldn't answer a question about.
Hey, didn't he promote Alicia Keys as well? Clive Davis. Songs in A minor.
She was signed to his label. Yes.
Yeah.
So Diddy is not someone that you just forget. He's not someone that you just don't comment on. So when we talk about these people, are they going to come forward, or are they going to wait until all this information comes out? Clive Davis is the head leader. He's the ringleader.
Agreed.
They say he broke P. Diddy in.
Yeah, you're right. Clive Davis as he's Puff Daddy, Sugar Daddy.
Clive Davis said no comment without the comment.
And the funny thing is, I just gave the example of Sammy Sosa not speaking English. Well, that was Clive Davis acting like he is incomprehensible.
Don't you see? They gotta lead me in by the hand. I'm doing a Joe Biden perk walk. They're holding me by the arm now, man.
Exactly.
He turned into an owl, and P. Diddy was no one he had ever encountered before.
And to your point, he understood everything else up until that question.
It was like
wait.
And he was in a different
he heard it enough to say who. If you can say who, you heard it.
Right. And that wasn't the first time they asked him the question. They asked him the question again. So he had time to ponder.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. What are you talking about?
I take back what I was saying. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
I stand corrected.
Time today, and on both occasions, he just.
Have you spoken to Sean Combs?
He didn't know.
People are curious about the status of P. Diddy.
Status of what?
P. Diddy.
He heard the status of. He heard every word until P. Diddy. That's hilarious.
What do you make of that situation?
I don't recall.
That's hilarious.
Hold on. He got a confirmation. He got a confirmation. Like, what'd you say?
Did y'all hear? He heard every word and repeated it up until Diddy. The status of what?
Look past Clive, and there's a guy in the background. I didn't even see him before. Okay. Look at him waving.
I don't recall.
Right. No comment from Clive Davis on P. Diddy. Mr. Davis, you're a major influence on the career of P. Diddy. Have you spoken to him since the federal raid? Have you spoken to Sean Combs?
Silence is deafening.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Wow.
That is pretty funny.
I'm going to reemphasize that. Did y'all hear that? They said, what do you feel about the status of P. Diddy? He said the status of what? He heard everything up until P. Diddy. He repeated it. He repeated the status of what? Now he didn't hear nothing
Yeah,
else.
the guy should have said Sean Combs. He should have said that. As opposed to
in
P. Diddy.
fairness, Payne, it had nothing to do. That's what I'm trying to share. It had nothing to do with the name. He heard everything.
No, I hear you. But
He
you know, he's old and confused. P. Diddy sound like he's doing it right. You know, old and confused. Man.
No. To your
Diddy
point,
he said no Diddy. He said no Diddy.
Wow.
That's his answer. No Diddy.
Man, he was like, he repeated the status of who? So he heard what's the status of everything. He heard that, repeated that.
He also said one word, and I don't know if you guys heard him or not, but he said, well, when somebody says, well, like that, that means you see what's going on. You hear what's going on. You saw him beat that woman in that hotel. You know, so the cookie gonna crumble the way the cookie gonna crumble. So sometimes that's that you know sometimes you're going to in the workplace and you don't look like all of them. You realize what the passive aggressiveness looks like real quick when they communicate with you. I remember working at my old job and we'll pass by a woman every morning, white woman. Good morning. Nothing. Like, I know. It's just me and you. Like Yolanda Adams said. It's just me and you. And I'm saying good morning. You're not saying anything back. And like the woman who was commenting on this said, the silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Because there's so much being said that's not being said, but I hear it oh so loud and clear. Right? That is something that if any, I know I'm not the only, I know we're not the only people that's seen that video. But anyone in the industry who has seen that video, that has been identified with Diddy, that has been at these parties, they have been the same, haven't they? Mum's the word. Unless you somebody that's coming out and trying to testify against Diddy, or he had you have these allegations against him.
Mm-hmm. What can you say?
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out in the near future, in which I do think that there will be definitely something coming out in the near future. Of course, we know that they denied his bail, and which our Payne doesn't necessarily agree with, but they did deny his bail.
So we made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
What do you think he thinks Diddy is innocent of? All of the charges?
I'm just laughing still at housing conditions
Yeah, that's funny.
And inhumane.
Yeah.
Okay. That to me is the funniest part. Like, Really?
No, if you're coming from a place where Diddy was living to a place like that, it's inhumane. It's like culture shock, big time.
You think? I'm like, you're detained. He's not in the feds yet. He's still in jail. You
Yeah.
think? Have anybody?
Listen, he might not come to jail. I'm telling you, his trial is not going to start for months, if not more.
Yeah,
he might be in there 6 months before they actually go to trial.
He should be able to get it.
I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling to me today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. He's doing good.
Now I have a question. Is that the second bond that was is that the second time that they denied him bond? Because I know the magistrate is what they was speaking about was the first person who denied him bond, but then they said it was going to the district, and that I don't know whether he got denied it.
Twice. I'm not sure if that's the first or second one, but they did deny him.
Okay, so they did deny him twice because
that's the second one.
Appealing the first one, which was the magistrate, and that just goes until they go to the what I was taught.
It was a different judge the second time, and they still denied him.
Yeah, there has to be some compelling reason to. Yeah. But I'm saying he's going to be in there for a while. So
yeah, because if that's the second one, then he probably is because that was her hope that the magistrate that they could get over because that's the first person who get it, but the second judge who actually they say is going to go through the whole process of this trial as the judge denied it, then he might have some issues.
I mean, but listen, they don't want him to become a flight risk. They're trying to keep him.
Where's he gonna go though, Trey?
But I'm just saying though, Russell Simmons, people get out of, at one point everybody thought he had left the country anyway, but they don't want
the fact that he didn't run. The fact that he didn't run, I don't know whether that means anything or not. He had chances to run. Russell Simmons ran before he got into any trouble.
Well, you're right, but here's what it is. After the investigation in April, they did take away his passports, his mother's passports, his kids' passports. So he hasn't had a passport since then. So it wasn't that he could have run.
How can he be less of a flight? If he wasn't a flight risk then, how can he be more of a flight risk now? He can't get out of the country.
Well, what the whole thing is
he definitely can be a flight risk. He don't have to get out the country. He could unalive himself. Like he don't have to.
Okay.
He don't have to go anywhere. He could,
You think they're doing that for his own protection?
Could be. He has a long list. Arpain, think about it. He has a long list of important people. That.
Or maybe they're doing it for somebody who might try to off him.
Well, they're doing it for the protection of the case. And that includes him and those involved.
I think the fact he can't get out on bail and he could afford it is
he can.
That's a bad.
I mean, so then if that's the case, like you said to me earlier, what is the circumstance where you don't get bail? Because you said then nobody should.
No. I'm saying, I'm just saying that if he actually unalived somebody, deleted somebody, that's one thing. Or but this kind of case is a RICO case. It's a criminal enterprise case. Of course, he's not going to start sex trafficking again. I mean, he's got so many eyes on him. I don't think there's anywhere he could go.
Listen,
I mean, if we're thinking about Precious says something like they might be worried he might delete himself, maybe, but I don't think they care whether he delete himself or not.
Well, Payne, listen to what you just said.
What
RICO cases let people out on bail that you know of?
I don't know a lot of different RICO cases. I know the one down at YSL. They ain't all in jail. Some of these guys, if they were able to make bail, did. But I'm not sure if everybody.
Young Thug is Puff. He's still in jail.
Okay. How about the other guy? How about the guy who?
They're not Puff. I'm just saying, Young Thug is the Puff in that case.
Yeah, but they have other people. It's a RICO case. There's a whole bunch of defendants on it.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying Young Thug is the Puff.
No, I hear you, but I'm just saying if it's a RICO case, if it's a RICO case, it involves more than one person. It's a whole list of people.
Well, is this a RICO case? I thought this was a sex trafficking
Now,
case.
this is a RICO case. This is a RICO trial on this thing. I mean, those are the individual things, but they're saying this thing is a criminal enterprise that has all these sex trafficking as one of the crimes under the RICO of the thing, and some other thing.
Racketeering and transportation to engage in prostitution. So pretty much, you know,
Yeah, by lack of other terms, that's what it is.
Trafficking, labor, sex, money, drugs, all of that.
So my question is, Payne, to you specifically, who had those charges that were?
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't know, I don't have an example to give you, but the point is, the fact that they even put a number to a bail means that they actually do give bail. Sometimes it says no bail, and you don't even have a chance to even put anything up.
I don't. This is my point. No, we're what cases that have?
I don't know.
They don't usually give them bail in this circumstances. Is all I'm saying.
Well, okay. I don't have no proof to dispute what you just said. So,
we do know that he's in there now, and
he may, like I said, he may never see the light of day again.
Right, until they're ready to take this to trial. I mean, like his lawyer was saying, and I don't know. I think lawyers who defend people who do bad things, I couldn't do the job.
So can I ask you a question, Preston? You don't believe that everybody, no matter what you've done, deserves a trial?
Oh, have your trial. I just won't be a part of it. Like it's just not something that I can sleep comfortably at night. Y'all know
I hear you.
I can sleep comfortably at night knowing
you're dependent somebody
done egregious things and I'm defending that.
And the funny thing is, that point of view that you're speaking to is the reason why I was speaking to earlier. You have integrity. There are people who just don't have integrity.
So now defense lawyers don't have integrity?
I mean, a lot of them don't, because they'll go up there and lie. My client is innocent. No,
the prosecutors lie too, though.
I'm not saying they don't. That's the integrity that she's speaking to. Is she won't do it because of her integrity. You won't get into what we spoke about earlier because of your integrity. I
would be the person who would find a piece of the puzzle together. I would do that stuff. Like, okay, they were there on Friday night at 7 o'clock. But I'm not the one that's going to be on the stand. Like, no, he's innocent. No, and don't he told me in the back room that he'll give me about 50 million more if I could. Like, it's not working.
I understand, but our system is an adversarial system. Somebody's going to prosecute you, and you got to have somebody's going to defend you.
Yeah, that's
whatever it is. That's the way it's set up.
Yeah, I know. I just, I like watching it on TV and stuff like that, but I just
this one might be on TV. Who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be.
Actually, it's a federal case, right?
It's a federal case.
Yeah, so it's not going to be televised. It's not allowed.
But you know how it will be televised?
Yeah, but isn't YSL televised and people have cameras?
Yeah, no, but that's a state case.
Oh, okay. I thought
that's a state case. That's Fannie Willis's case.
My fault. I thought you're right. I was thinking otherwise.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. But it'll be interesting to see the timeline from he's been arrested to when they actually do go to trial, because from Diddy to go from the palace to the pit. So it's a lesson. It's a lesson. It's a lesson that I think a lot of people learn in real life who are not millionaires and billionaires to know what it feels like to go from the palace to the pit. And because they know what that feels like, and some of them know what it feels like at an earlier age or at an earlier time in their life, they're not willing to go back.
I got an example for you. Paris Hilton, when she kept getting those drunk drivers, DUIs, the judge says, you know what? I don't give a shit about your money. You're going to spend some time in jail. So a chick whose world was her oyster, once that door closed on her,
Yeah.
on that 8x8. She almost went crazy. She hasn't done one bad thing since that.
Well, the difference is she's always lived in a palace.
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm just saying, can you
it's
imagine the freedom
traumatizing.
you have, and then all of a sudden you in an 8x8?
I,
Boom, you
4-year-old Puff is not unfamiliar with the pit. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, but still, he's been living in
I agree.
luxury for a long time.
Come on now, yachts, yachts and things.
I'm
Can you
hoping.
imagine? Let me tell you, man. You know what keep me out of jail? Not the toilet seats, the toilet bowls with no damn seat on it.
You know,
they don't have no, like, they don't even have, I mean, they don't even have, like, the thing that goes up and down, man. Come on.
Hey,
And then everybody around you, oh, God.
That ain't the worst
being on
of
the
it.
road with some artists.
What's the worst of it?
I remember being.
It's
seriously,
it's a steel toilet, and it's in the middle. It's in the middle of your cell. You ain't got no. You ain't got no. Nothing. You just sitting out there.
Oh my God, man! Jesus
Yo,
Christ!
you want to hear something funny? I was on tour. I was taking a bunch of artists on tour. I was taking them around tour, and we stopped at a gas station on the way. And I was like, yo, I can't use the bathroom. All of them, because they all had been street people, was like, oh, you never been to jail, huh? And I was like, nah. They was like, yeah, we could tell. Because you just said you can't go to the bathroom in it. When you go in jail, you go to the bathroom anywhere.
Oh my God, man!
And I didn't realize that. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty, I guess you're right.
I'm an uppity black man. I swear. I am. Hey, going to camp did it for me, man. Oh my God, I've been staying for life, man. Because in the camp we had, they had all the toilet bowls lined up with each other. So when we had to go to the bathroom, you sitting here, guy right next to you here, guy right next to you there, everybody. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God!
What's funny is, y'all said it earlier, and this is why I couldn't dispute your point of view, because y'all said I wouldn't play. I never wanted to play team sports, even though I had a lot of abilities, because I never wanted to go and take a shower in the locker room with men.
Man, hold on.
Yeah, I had to do that. Yeah, we had to do that.
Yeah, see, I that was where I was. I was like,
but see, that was in camp. They had the shower heads up at the top, and we were all in this like area. But in the locker room, that was different. At least you were in the shower with another guy.
What camp are you talking about? They call jail camp too. What camp?
We went to in Harlem. They had this thing called Camp Menacing. They would take us up to Port Jervis, New York, and they had like different levels for your age. It was beautiful. It was Camp Menacing in in Port Jervis, New York.
Yeah, see, I think
it was great. Had the Appalachian Trail went up there, and it was just the insurance killed the camp.
Yeah,
they would take a whole bunch of black kids out of Harlem and the Bronx, and we used to spend a month up there.
Yeah,
and I did it for like 6 years when we were young too. My first one up there was like 9. I went up there until I was like 14, 15.
No, and I agree. I've definitely matured out of that. But the point is, when I was younger, that was something that I never really. It reminded me of jail. And I just, I come from a building that everybody was criminals. So I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to. I'm good.
It's a different mindset, man. I never thought that when me playing football and us taking showers as a team that anybody was, it's a different time, man. That was the norm back then. Even as a young boy, everybody looked at each other as man, we respected that space. It wasn't no wrestling, So
like
now,
I didn't know I didn't have the experience to know a lot of the high school. You couldn't get into sports in my neighborhood until you was in high school. So it didn't like it had pee-wee leagues and all of that. We played football, but we had to borrow people equipment, mix and match, because we couldn't afford a league type of equipment or structured type of organization.
Where you grew up at, Sean?
East New York, Brooklyn.
In New York? Oh well,
East New York. It's a section of Brooklyn, specific. But the point being is that was just what I grew into. So I could understand what y'all were saying, because I didn't realize certain things until I got older, like that was even an issue. That was hindsight that I came to that conclusion.
So did you play ball? Did you play ball shirts and the skins and use the skin?
Nah, that was never that. I didn't learn that until I was in California. I never even seen that until I was in. I lived in New York.
I was always
There was
shirts.
never no
Man.
shirts
Always
and skins.
shirts.
It was if you took off your shirt, that was your prerogative.
You're right though, Sean. I mean, I think maybe a couple of times you couldn't choose if you were on a team, you had to have shirt off. But I never. After that, I said, you know what? I'll wait till the next game. I just did. I don't even want to see men's feet. Like when they have like sandals and shit like that, I don't want to see your toes. Put those shits away. You know what I'm saying? Put them away.
So I think
yeah. Good.
Just off topic, I have a question for you based on what you. Are you one of those guys that wear sandals with thick and thin socks?
I don't wear sandals at all. I don't wear sandals at all, man. I mean,
socks and stuff.
No, if I'm on the beach, everybody has their shoes on. But you can walking around, guys got their nasty ass toes out, man. You sitting there, man.
I got pretty feet, man. I got pretty feet.
Mine look good too, but
no Diddy.
That's not for you. That's not for you to look at. You know what I'm saying?
What do you guys say to the people who are like, well, Diddy was just being nasty? I think Boosie came out with a video.
He was just being nasty.
Yeah, and he was pretty much saying, what's the difference between men flying women out that they have sex with? Would they be charged with trafficking and things of that nature? There are men who are coming out pretty much saying, why is Diddy getting charged when he's just being a freak?
Difference is
what's the difference, Sean?
Is that he's taking them to places to have sex with others, as opposed.
But that's what they just said. They just said, well, if you flying a girl out, you're flying her out so you could have sex with her.
With her, but not you're not flying her out as a proposition of your homeboy. Like with Tupac case, for example, the reason why he got locked up wasn't because he messed or he did that to the girl. It's because he allowed his homeboys to do that to the girl. People who was in his hotel room. And so that's kind of where the difference is that he played, I don't got nothing to do with that. But if you send somebody out and then they come in and there's a
whole bunch of dudes in there. That's different.
So if you're sending them to a party and you're thinking that it's just for you and I, but it turns out you trying to coerce or influence her to be like, this is what we do. This is my man. Man. That type of scenario turns into quote unquote a possible trafficking.
Well, the other part is money being exchanged for those services too. What's being exchanged for those services?
And that's what's in a lot of cases, money is.
No, I'm saying, that's got to be a part of it too.
Yeah.
So Boosie, you're right. If it's just her coming out to see me or me coming. Now, there used to be like some issues if you were just, I don't even know if it had to be a group. If you took a woman across state lines just to have sex or something, and somehow, I don't know why.
It was Jack, I think it was Jack Johnson, the boxer.
The Mann Act. The Mann Act. He called it the Mann Act.
Right. And he was arrested because he took his wife or a girl that he was actually involved with across the state line. And it was illegal for a black man to do that with a white.
Some of those laws are draconian, and some of them are erased, but some of them are still there. You got to be careful. That's all I got.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I don't know. P. Diddy's he's dirty. He actually is dirty, but is he criminal? That's the whole thing. We gotta, so it's a thin line. So I think a lot of those charges are going to go. I think a lot of the charges are not going to stick.
Well, this is the way I've learned about feds, and this was what we were talking about earlier. When you get to this point and this stage, they're not going away. 90+% of the time.
Yeah.
So to your point, that 5%, it does exist, but
I know. Well, they got enough stuff trumped up against them that some stuff is going to stick. But I think that they're telling their side of the Sometimes the pictures tells more than one story. It tells your story and it can tell my story. Right? You know, so I think a lot of that stuff is going to come out during trial. It should be really interesting.
I agree with you. I just don't have that much faith in our justice system personally, especially under these circumstances and historically, that I feel positive about it or that I feel any hope about it.
Well,
So,
for Precious' sakes, he's going to do a whole lot of time so Precious can see fella like put Diddy away. Put Diddy away. She might say, no Diddy.
That's funny. This title is No Diddy today, Precious.
No, because you got to tell Diddy no. If you were to tell Diddy no, he would be in this by himself, right? That's exactly what Cat Williams said. And I love that he said that because it doesn't just apply to P. Diddy. Like it doesn't just it should apply to any and everybody who knows that there's a bad influence, who knows that these people don't mean you no good, who knows that you ain't supposed to be there, it's the wrong place, wrong time, wrong setup, wrong everything there. And because there is some type of gain, whether it's monetary, whether it's a emotional, no matter what it is, you gotta tell them no. You gotta tell them no, because a lot of people talk about, well, these women willingly did these things. But there are some people, when you ask them, have you ever been to a Diddy party? Oh no, I ain't never been to a Diddy party, because I already know we'll go down to the Diddy party. You would think that would have been the verbiage of a TD Jakes. No, I ain't never been to a Diddy party. Why would I associate myself to a Diddy party? Yes, I may see him at an award show, and yes, we may cordially say hello. We may even give each other a hug, but that's as far as it goes when it goes. So you incriminate yourself when you're associated with this person. But no is a qualifier. And obviously a lot of people couldn't tell Diddy no because of all of the things that he enticed them with, the things that he promised them, the things that they just thought that the grass was going to be so much greener on the other side.
Right.
So, it is a lot of people have trouble telling people no, period. People have trouble telling people no, period. And I'm not one of those people. I will tell you no. I won't call. I will stop communication with you, because sometimes no is what needs to happen.
Right.
Because of greed, but because of selfishness, but because of arrogancy, because of ego, you can't be told no. And sometimes you need to sit with your no. And now Diddy is sitting with his no.
And I agree wholeheartedly. And what you're saying is the reason why we have one accord here often, even between our pain and our debates, because we can say no. And we do have a reason for saying it. And we do have a moral compass that we abide by. And all I'm sharing is that is a unique thing. We often mess with you, Precious, and say how rare and unique you are because of those qualities and other qualities. But the point is that we can't just gloss over the fact that there is a uniqueness about that. And unfortunately, a lot of people say yes. And that's the point that I always stand on. Like, yo, as much as you must say, we won't say, we might not think it, but it exists, and it exists significantly, not even randomly. It exists significantly, because when you get into those stages, like you said, what was the word you just used, Precious? Entice. You have a lot more of an ability to entice. And once you find out a person's vice, which is usually the thing that they go for, they look for your vice. What is your vice? And they feel and approach it that way because they feel everybody got a vice.
I think that, while some of these women, men and women, because it's not just women, it's men too. a lot of them, willingly did it. A lot of them, were drugged. Again, this is what was found in his home. This is what people talked about when it came to Diddy. They said he would have drugs out like it was M&Ms and Skittles on the table. I mean, it wasn't a secret. Even Lecrae saying, him walking in there saying, "Oh, I'm big and bad. I can handle this. I can, don't think that I'm that saved that I can't, watch what my eye gates are, consuming, because we think that we have that much control over ourselves, not realizing that those things have more control over us than we have over us." And so for Lecrae, for his friend to say, "Look, it's going it's going to swallow you up. Don't think, don't think, don't think for not 1 second that you are stronger than this." Because when you put drugs in the mix, now you're now you changing the chemical imbalance of your brain. So now you're not even thinking straight. You're not even thinking straight. So any action, anything that goes on, can you be accountable for it? Remember when he was talking to Diddy and them and calling them daddy and this and that, and he went on a breakfast club and Charlamagne was like, "You don't remember saying all that? Like you called him daddy and you wanted him." He was scrambling and scratching and you don't remember saying that? And he's like, "Look, I be partying." When something can take a hold of you like that and you have the influence for it to do it to other people so you can be pleasured and you can live out your fantasies, you need help. This is beyond the business. This is greediness to the 100th level. It's like how much sex can you have? How much, like, like I think our Payne was saying, when you get bored or whatever, you add something new. Okay, we add something new, but is it the quantity? Is it the quality? Like what more, and how many year after
I think
year?
he got pleasure out of. I think he got pleasure out of corrupting people. So every new person was a new window of corruption, right? So I think not only did he get off, because a lot of his parties he wanted to watch other people do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think he had pleasure out of seeing this person who might have been straight laced, who wanted something, and I think he got pleasure out of seeing how far would you go to get what you want. I think that was part of his game.
I think that's, like I said, a pimp mentality, and also an abuser. An abused mentality. I think he fell victim to that, like Gene said, because some of his mentors, Andre, God rest his soul, and Clive, and so on, groomed him, so to speak, or mentored him. And so, yeah, you do wind up having those. And the other guiltiness about it is that once you come to terms that that's what you did, you want everybody again to feel like or go through what you went through. And that's kind of where I push back sometimes. I've never been in a fraternity, but I push back on that hazing process is because I feel like sometimes they lean towards making you do certain things to protect, to be participate, or good old boys club type of thing, where they feel that you might be guilty if in fact you're not participating in what happened. Now, again, to your look, coach, I am not part of, nor am I downplaying or speaking against. I'm just speaking my opinion on why I didn't. And it's because I was also in this industry and a lot of that was taking place. Hazing was taking place in this industry. They call it grooming now, but I feel like they can be synonymous at times, and that's kind of where I'm leaning towards, is that where there is synergy, or if you take it out of context or put it in a different context, one can be the same. It's kind of like coercion. And I don't particularly agree with that in any environment. Now, if you didn't do that, which I don't know the process, that's why I keep on making these I'm making these statements with the disclaimers. But the point is that regardless on how you do it, a lot of times that good old boy mentality, politics do it, police officers do it, industry does it, sport people do it. Like if you're not with me, you're against me. So they try and make you feel like you have to do a certain thing in order to be part of this. And this industry it runs rampant. My brother who introduced me to the industry and also protected me in this industry often, he's my older brother, said he told every artist I produce and work with to get control of your vices. And that's exactly why I bring up vices, is because that's the first thing that they try and target is your vices, your insecurities, what it is what is it that I can offer you to get what I want. And if you have them, they're going to exploit them. And if you don't have them, they're going to ostracize you and make you feel like, oh, nah, I can't deal with that person. They're hard to work with, and so on and so forth.
All right, y'all. Final thoughts on this whole thing, and then we're gonna put it to rest and hear more about it. We'll start with Sean. We'll go down to Art Payne, and we'll end with Coach Ferg.
Thank you. My final thought, first off, thank you, Precious. Thank you, fellas. I always enjoy these conversations, always enlightening, always like the going back and forth. It's entertaining and funny. But my last thing is, did he do it? Or did he did it? That's it. I leave it there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I don't. Listen. I think Diddy brought a lot of this stuff on himself. I think he got drunk with power. I think but he's guilty of something. And when I say that, I think that he said he took his organization, this empire that he built, and he corrupted it because he had some proclivities that were out of control. And I think part of his stick, like I just told you, is to see how other people, how many people he could corrupt. I think he did that. So that even if they came willingly, he kept pushing them until they started doing other things and other things and other things and new people and this people. And I think, after a while, the patterns were there for anybody to see. I think the fact that it took so long for some people to come down on him is because the holes in our system. Because some of this stuff had to be out there. Everybody was talking. It's not like it was a big secret. The kind of his parties, the sex, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just land it there. He's, like I said, he may never see the light of day again. He may never see the light of day again. I'll land it there. Hey, thanks a lot, Precious, for bringing me.
Thank you, Precious. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I just got to ask one thing because my brother just came on and he wanted to add a point. And it's a very significant point. He said when Jesus went up to the mountain.
Why you didn't click on the link? Where the link?
Why didn't you click on the link, Brett?
The link.
Why you ain't?
The link is there for those who want to join.
He was listening to the link. He's not tech savvy. Let me just say that.
All right, Shannon. I'm just kidding.
The point he was making was he said when Jesus went up to the mountain, the devil enticed him and said, I can give you all of this. And Jesus, and he's been there where people have enticed him. But what he said is the reason why he got through it is because he understood, which most people don't, that the devil can't give you what's already yours. And he already understood that this is already mine. This is a God-given gift of mine. So you're not giving me anything. If anything, I'm giving you something. And so that's what helped him out of it. But most people are in a position like they don't have the confidence that of their God-given gifts and understand their value. So therefore, when somebody like a Diddy offers, if he goes up to the mountain and say, I can give you all of this, a lot of people don't really know how to react to that other than try to embrace what it is that he's saying. But he was the devil in that scenario, and that's kind of how he comes across. Is that what you're saying, Brett?
Yeah, he's a devil. He's definitely the devil in the scenario. There's no doubt about it.
And he said in the music business that happens so often, and he like I said, he introduced me to the music industry because of his gifts, and that's what is a good analogy is what he's saying that covers
There you
this
go.
with Diddy.
All right.
I'm sorry for.
What can we get a name of this brother?
Yeah, I said Brett. Brett is his name. I'm sorry, Brett B. Brett
Okay,
Bolden.
well, thank you, Brett, for your final word. We appreciate it.
I heard final words over the phone. That's
Yeah, and just for the record, Brett wrote "Hand on the Pump" by Cypress Hills. He taught B Real and them how to write songs. He's been very significant. He did a movie with Marva Collins' story, which was with Cecily Tyson and Morgan Freeman. So he did all of this early on in life, and he introduced me into the industry. And so his credentials are there as well.
Well, Brett, I'm gonna say this for the first time. Brett owe everybody a cash out for all that.
Yeah.
He owe everybody.
Where's the cash app? Hit the cash. To Umar Johnson, hit the cash.
No, it's just sad that we're in this space again with people, and not very many of us are able to reach this level of success by any means. And it's just sad that we hear again that people that a lot of adults look up to are getting to that capacity, just doing it the wrong way, being selfish about it, not thinking about those. He has a family, he has children. What about them? They're going to be just pretty much pushed out into the cold. And it's unfortunate because, again, he's not by himself in this. I'm just going to be paying attention and to see how they handle the list of people, because if they've seen certain names that probably have a lot of power in the industries, I'm just, and it's just unfortunate, just my last thing to those who are interested in getting into any fields of entertainment or public awareness, or you're going to be in the public, do that shit the right way. Don't do it underhanded, because you're black with a big nose and big lips. They're going to come after you. And when it comes to a point where you're not making them any money, then they're going to go and dig up every little thing or find something just to make it. And according, with us, a lot of it sticks, whether it's true or not. Once it gets attached to you, it stays attached to you. So, but if you want to do it the right way, and if any of y'all parents got y'all slow ass kids trying to sing and do the industry, you make sure that you reading contracts, make sure that you get your kid home before 12, make sure that you are very involved in it, be a part of it. Don't sell your child out for a few little dollars. Be very aware of the people that you connect your children to. Be very aware that you just have to do things a little different. And at some point, you're not a victim. You do that shit more than 3 times, you're not a victim. You're a willing participant. So if you want your life to be different, then this is a great opportunity for someone else to step in those shoes and understand how to move in these areas and just do it the right way. Don't try to get around it, because you will get exposed at some point. So that's all I got.
Well, y'all, it has been another one. Of course, tonight we spoke about Diddy just because that's what's going on in the media right now. Our next live was still in the month of September. I know it's men's mental health. Is it men's mental health month or just mental health month? Men's mental health, right? Awareness. Someone fact check me in the comments, or if you're just watching this, let me know in the comments. I believe it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Wait, October or this month?
This month.
It's almost over.
But even if it's just Mental Awareness Month, that includes men as well. So I do want to get in a show where we talk about that, because even with Diddy and even with all of the things that he's done, and even with the people who are involved, and Diddy has children, but these people have children too. It's just a huge web of mess, right? These people are human, and now they have to sit with their nose because he got to know, no, bail denied, no. Again, he's probably not used to hearing no.
No, I'm sure he's not.
He gets what he wants, right? And mentally, and with the drugs, because if you're used to taking drugs and things of that nature, now you're sitting in a cell, you're probably going to go through withdrawal. You're probably going to go through withdrawal, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. And this is all a mind thing, okay? The devil really wants our minds. He wants us to not renew it. He wants us to just think that we just do whatever, and we'll have all this, we'll have all this money, we'll have all this fulfillment, and that's not the case. But if he can get your mind, then the rest of you will follow. And so now Diddy is definitely going to go through a mind renewal, and I hope that he goes through this mind renewal, because my grace ain't sufficient, but the Lord's is. Okay, my grace may not be sufficient, but God's grace is sufficient, because He told us it is. So let's just hope that Diddy does turn a new leaf, but that is going to take a lot of mental. It's just going to take a lot of being intentional about your mental, because you weren't being intentional about it before. You use drugs to ease the pain. You use women, you use men, you use all these things, and now you're stripped of everything. It's crazy how God will strip you of everything that you thought gave you all this pleasure, all this money, all this success. And now you're down with a nothing and a no. You keep asking for this bail and you keep getting no. So sometimes we got to let those no's work for us, because it's not always about getting everything that we want. I'm glad my parents didn't grow us up to be spoiled. Because if I was spoiled thinking that everything's supposed to go my way and I'm supposed to get everything that I want and things of that nature, I don't know what I would do to get what I want. Instead, I just work like the rest of the people. But there are some people who will find a loophole, who will do, even if it's not on a Diddy level, the sex workers who do the OnlyFans and things of that nature, those things will catch up to you. You think it's a pretty dollar now. Those things will catch up to you some way, shape, or form. It will. And so you got to say no before somebody else is saying no to you. Because that no could be your freedom. That no could be your children. That no could be, the other people who are in other places who have control over your establishments, your money, your assets, whatever. Learn to be the one to say no before somebody else got to say no to you, and you really have no control. So I appreciate you guys. I'll be letting you guys know in the chat when our next live is.
Thank you.
But it probably be around this time next week, Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. But I'll let you guys know. But my final and closing words will always be real with yourself so you can be real with others. You guys, happy Thursday.
All right. Take it easy.
It's Thursday now, huh?
It's Wednesday. It's Thursday now, yeah, for sure. You're keeping us up past our bedtime.
Y'all keeping me up, okay?
That's a Wednesday for me. I'm on West Coast.
Good night.
All right, good night, guys.
All right, y'all.
down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.